Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome to another live stream by the Muslim Apologist. That's me and my co-host today, brother from Islamic Calling. Assalamualaikum, brother.
Walaikum salam. How is everyone? Sorry guys for being late. Baby brother
Yeah,
MENJ can explain why.
yeah, it's very simple. I fell asleep. Yeah, I fell asleep and then when I woke up, I was like,
Bunch
oh
of amateurs.
yikes, you know. I was like, oh yikes, it's 9:30. Oh my god, thank God I didn't overslept or anything because I fell asleep right after I did my Maghrib prayers. It was around
Uh,
7:45 like that. So I was watching the series Cobra Kai because the new series it's a new series for fifth season. The fifth season of Cobra Kai. And I fell asleep in the middle of it. I was watching the fourth or fifth episode when I fell asleep. I think it was the third episode, not really sure. But anyway,
uh,
I woke up and here I am. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Today we're going to discuss your debate, your famous debate with Apos. So
Oh
how was the
yes, of
experience?
course. Oh, it was fun actually. To be honest, I was fun. To be honest, that when I first got onto the debate, I wasn't really sure for myself because I was thinking, oh my, this guy is probably going to hit me with a lot of points that I couldn't answer. But as the debate progresses, I realized that I over prepared because you could see from the way he did his opening statement, right? He was just focusing on a specific incident involving Salman Rushdie. He wasn't. I mean, that doesn't prove that Islam is dangerous. I mean, the topic is Islam dangerous to the world? Just because some guy named Salman Rushdie was stabbed by some anonymous guy who claims to be a Muslim doesn't prove that Islam is a danger to the world. I mean, how does that prove anything? In fact, right? That's one point. Yeah, maybe you can add on to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, inshallah, as we watch the video. He made a lot of stupid points.
Yeah.
But in my overall kind of to give my honest opinion, I think he won the debate fair and square because I don't think he was able to respond to your main argument. And and another thing is that he brought up a lot of kind of irrelevant points. So I think
Yeah.
overall, I think he did he did pretty badly, but that's not a surprise. He's just a terrible debater. Again, like I said, like I told you,
Yeah.
like even if you like put a chair against him, the chair is gonna win the debate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually come there to lose the debate. I just come there to refute his lies and refute whatever claims that he made against Islam specifically, and present the case for Islam. That's the reason why I accepted debates on the first place. Okay, so it doesn't matter what people think whether I won or lose, because on his channel, because he re-uploaded the debate on his channel, right? So a lot of people are saying, "Oh, you won, you this, you're that." And then on MDD, the response was also mixed. But on my channel, a lot of people were happy with the outcome and they were congratulating me. So you see, different people are going to have different responses to the debate. Different people are going to say, "Oh, my side won, your side lost." It doesn't matter. So for me, in the end, it doesn't really matter who won or lost, because people are not going to change their opinions just because of one debate. Is
Mhm.
what matters is that the points, you present the points properly, you behave yourself properly. As there's one particular funny incident which I think you'll come across later,
Yeah,
which involves me scratching my back. And
yeah,
I mean, I think on overall I managed to control my emotions, and I think that's very, very important, because if I had lost it, because he was provoking me, and if I
yeah,
had lost it and lost myself, even though doesn't matter whether my points were good or not, if I lost myself and I started hitting him with insults and all that, I
yeah.
automatically would have he would have won by default. I would have automatically lost the debate. It's really that simple, because people
Yeah, I
want to
mean,
see
I
a
mean,
point
the
ups.
thing,
Yeah.
the thing about like live debates is that the guy with the most followers, whoever has the most followers, it seems like
Yeah.
that person has won the debate, no matter like what arguments you make.
Exactly.
Like if you go to the
Exactly.
comment section, or like Apu's fanboys are like, "Oh, Apu's won the debate," you know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
So
Exactly. So
yeah,
so
it's
that's why
kind
I
of
don't
like
that's why I don't put stock to it as on today. You see? Yeah, I don't really put stock on it. Okay. That's the point. Yeah. So yeah. So anyway, yeah. Shall we continue watching the debate, or by the way, how do we want to do this? Do we want to comment on everything from the
By the
beginning
way,
to the end,
okay,
or are we going
the
to? Yeah.
stream is not streaming on my channel. Can you check and see if
It says here that it is. So yeah, it says here, Islamic calling, you are live. So you need to check. Yeah.
last
Maybe
I
I'll
checked,
give
I
you a
didn't
few minutes.
see it on my channel though.
Wait,
That's fine though. I can maybe put it
yeah.
up later.
I mean, let's say if it doesn't appear, then I would say you just grab it from my channel and just re-upload it, because it does say here you're streaming though, so you don't understand why it's not right. It says
All
here
right,
you're
so
live. And then,
bro, let's get the show on the road. We're already
yeah.
late, so
So do you want to
let the
cover the
funeral
whole
begin.
thing? Yep. So
Let the funeral begin.
okay, sure.
Come on.
By the way, do
I
you
have
want
a
to
lot of
cover
things
the
to
whole
say.
thing? Do you want to cover the whole thing from the beginning opening statement to the end, or do you just want to cover certain parts of the debate?
Let's just do the main argument point, like from the beginning to end of the debate, and we're not gonna do the Q&A because that's gonna take too long.
All right.
I think.
All right. Yeah. But I do want to play the funny part from the Q&A though.
Yeah, sure. We can watch that.
Yeah, of course. Okay, all right. Okay, so let me share the stream right now. All right. I'm going to play for modern day debate, all right? Okay, so yeah, I mean, so okay, let's forward this.
By the way,
Okay,
did you
let's play
upload this on your channel?
Not yet. I haven't uploaded this on my channel. Yeah.
Okay.
I have the file and everything, the original file, but I haven't uploaded it yet. Yeah.
Okay.
So let me play this. Oops.
Muslim apologists.
Oh, no, let me adjust this, all right?
Yeah, sure.
Apostate Prophet's opening statement.
Okay.
Thanks so much for being with us, Apostate Prophet. Floor.
By the way, bro, can you hide the sound?
Yeah.
I can't hear.
Oh, you can't hear it? Sorry. Okay,
No, I
let me
can't
put
hear
it to the max.
It's too low.
All right.
That's
It's
okay.
max.
Okay.
All right. It's max. All right. Okay, I'm playing it now, all right?
Sure.
And thanks to the Muslim apologists for this debate. And hello, everybody.
By the way,
just
can you pause?
recently,
Can you
an
pause?
incident happened.
Just
Yeah.
for a bit. I can't bear this guy's face. I mean, if I want to debate with him, I would have started laughing right away. I just cannot take this guy seriously.
If you notice, I wasn't even looking at the camera most of the time. I don't know whether you notice it, because I wasn't looking at the camera most of the time. Yeah. So I mean, I wasn't looking at him directly in his face. Okay, I was just looking sideways or glancing sideways. I wasn't even looking at him directly. Okay.
This guy's such a clown.
I mean, each time I look at his face, I feel like I want to punch him. So
it's not that I don't.
Yeah,
I want to punch him. It's just I just genuinely cannot take this guy seriously. That whenever I see him, I laugh. Why am I debating? Why am I debating this guy?
Yeah, for me, it's a different experience, because each time I see this face, I feel like I want to punch him in the face. That's all. He looks so. he has this face, which in Malaysia we call, or we term as I'll say it in the Malay, right? The Malay phrase. So the Malay phrase goes, muka minta penumbuk. So if you translate that, his face is asking for a punch. Okay.
Punchable face.
Punchable face. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
But literally it's translated as his face is asking for a punch. Okay. All right. His face asked for a punch. In Malay, it's a bit more beautiful than that. Okay? It's not punchable face. But punchable face doesn't mean that he's asking for it, right? But in Malay, it means in Malay it means that the face is asking for it. Yeah, that's the nature of the language. So yeah, so shall we continue?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's go and continue.
A renowned author, Salman Rushdie, was brutally attacked by a religious Muslim who had the intention to kill
Can you pause?
Rushdie.
Yeah, Salman Rushdie.
Where does he get this, that this guy was religious?
No, because some random guy on the streets, steps him and say, "Oh, I'm a Muslim," even though as it turns out he was a Shia. So therefore, it means that somehow it's related to Islam. I mean, how low can you think?
I mean,
In that
that's the
sense,
thing.
right?
You know that I recently made a video on like this whole thing of like Douglas Murray and
Yeah.
like Brother Abdullah
Yeah.
and the Lucy. I don't know if you saw
Yes.
that. So that's
I think I
something
saw
they
parts of it. Yeah.
Phobes do all the time. They'll
Yes, they
just
do.
look at correlations and come to weird
Yep.
conclusions and
Yep.
say that means
Yeah,
causation.
and I call him to task. I call him to task for it. I bluntly call him an Islamophobe for raising up the
Yeah.
issue, and he was trying. As you will see in the next part of this debate, right? So yeah. So shall we continue
I
again?
mean, so the main point here is that,
Yeah.
I mean, just because someone is a Muslim and he does something against Islam, because by the way, this is against Islam. Let's just clarify that in the beginning, because you cannot
Oh,
break
by
the
the
law
way,
of
I
the land. Yeah.
think there's a brother here, Harun Sadiq. He left a comment here. MA, means
MA,
me. A lot of the
a
ulama
lot of
today
the
says that apostasy only punishable by death is linked with treason. Yes, that is what I said in my debate. I said that if the apostate leaves Islam and he starts blaspheming and openly declaring his apostasy, which equals to treason, by the way, then only then will his his punishment be allowed under Sharia. Okay, I said that
yeah,
very
but
clearly in the debate.
that's the same thing. In a Sharia state,
Yeah,
that would be
yeah,
treason.
yeah.
Like
Yes,
if you
it is
come out
treason.
and publicly,
Yeah.
how else would you have
Yeah.
apostasy?
If you are, so I need to clarify this. If you are an apostate, if you leave Islam, you're quietly, you are an apostate. You leave Islam quietly and in an Islamic state, and you go and isolate yourself from the Muslims, and you don't mix around with that. You don't openly say that you are an apostate. You just quietly leave Islam and you do about your business. Nobody knows that you're an apostate. Then it's all right. The state cannot punish you because you did not. No one knows whether you're an apostate or not, and that is between you and God. But if you became an apostate and you openly declare, "Oh, I'm an apostate. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that," that is considered treason against the Islamic State. It's that simple. In an Islamic society, okay, it's really that simple. Because if let's say you go to London or you go to the US and you become an apostate, there's no problem also because you're not in a Muslim society, and the Sharia cannot do anything against you because the UK and the US are not ruled by Islamic laws. Okay, but if you do it in a society like Bangladesh or Malaysia or Indonesia, basically Muslim majority nations, then definitely the Sharia applies to you. It's really that simple. Yeah, and this is what I stressed during the debate.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of Apus fans in the comments. It seems like.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
By the way,
Aki,
Aki, can you continue? I think it's praying right now. I'm going to take a few minutes break. You continue.
Okay,
inshallah.
sure, of course. All right. So, okay, someone says Apis again. All right. So, you guys are a joke. Okay, you can say whatever you want. I don't give a shit. Right? Why do you have to hide if you leave Islam? Because you are a treasonous person. Just as a spy would also hide himself if he was spying for the other nation as well. Would a spy declare himself to be a spy, spying for the other country? It's the same reason, right? Okay, so Brother Islamic Calling has left to, I think, perform his answer. Sorry, I think it's Maghrib. Sorry. I will continue the stream as he goes along while waiting for him, right? Okay.
I want to quickly share my screen here.
Yeah. He's going to put out his Salman Rushdie stuff, right?
All right. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit all over the place right now. I'm going to share my screen over here. Right, that's right. Okay. I guess you can see this.
Now they can, yes.
Okay, so author Salman Rushdie was recently attacked by a religious Muslim who had the intention to kill.
Religious Muslim. Okay, I mean the guy that didn't seem to get the memo that the person who attacked him claimed to be a Shia. Okay, so what can I say? Right. So Brother Nizar has joined the stream. What if an apostate live their lives normally without actively preaching against Islam but not hiding an apostasy idea? how would a Sharia state react to them? Once the apostate declares his apostasy openly, he's considered to be against the Islamic State in an Islamic society. All right. So you just need to make it clear that once you declare yourself to be an apostate within the Muslim society, that is considered treason against the state. But if you are an apostate, but you did not declare anything, you did not say I'm not a Muslim or I'm a Muslim, you didn't say anything of the sort, and you live your life peacefully without going against Islam or whatsoever, that's absolutely fine. Okay, so basically his life will continue. The Sharia cannot even touch him, and basically what he believes is between him and God will deal with him in the hereafter. Okay, this is actually recorded in the book, The Punishment of
All right, I'm
Apostasy
back.
in Islam, right?
Sorry.
So Walaikum salam. So brother, maybe you want to address this. I was just telling the brother Nizal regarding his comment here. So he was asking, what if an apostate lived their life normally without actively preaching against Islam, but not hiding the apostasy either? How would a Sharia state react to them? So what I told the brother, he'll be punished because he openly calls himself an apostate. If he were living his life normally, peacefully, without actively preaching against Islam, and remains
also let's have an analogy, right? Let's have an analogy, which is that imagine that a person takes care of you constantly. Let's say your mother, and let's say that you have a state-run government, right? You're in a leadership position, and you openly go out and constantly insult that person. Now, obviously, you're going to have some kind of consequences for that. Now, the leader has a responsibility to punish that person, right? Or if he does, if he's like, for example, just to make it easier, imagine the situation where, if a leader of a country or a king of a country can punish people for violating his laws, then why would he allow people to violate God's laws? Because God is the one who put him in power in the first place. So God exceeds in terms of authority. So if he can punish people for violating his laws, then he has to punish people for violating God's laws. And if he doesn't, then criminals have a completely, fully legit justification to violate his laws, because they can simply say that, well, you violate God's laws, so why do we have to listen to your laws, man-made laws? Right?
Exactly.
So it doesn't become consistent. It becomes inconsistent.
Yes, that's right. So another person here is asking this. So you are saying that Shia are not Muslim? Nope, they are not. They're not.
We have to clarify.
Okay, good.
It depends on what you mean by Shia, because the term Shia is very, very ambiguous, and there are Shias. Shias, not like scholars for the most part, don't say that Shias are not Muslims. It's when they do things like shirk, because there are different types of Shias. It's when they take shirks like worship like 12 imams and stuff like that. Then it can be argued that they have left the fold of Islam. But
especially when they defile the name of the Sahaba, okay? Because the Shia, some of the Shia, they curse the names of the Sahaba, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman even, okay? And they even insult Aisha. They say that Aisha was an adulteress. So this kind of things makes them become out the fold of Islam. It's really that simple. Okay.
But then again, it's up to a scholar to give a verdict on this. But regardless, let's continue.
One last one. Iranians are not Muslims. I would say a blanket no, but it also depends, like what we explained just now. It depends on what type of Shia. Because I've heard Khomeini, openly, denouncing the Sahaba. So that takes him out of the fold of Islam. And I've heard many, Iranian Shia scholars say the same. So, but it depends.
I mean, we're not scholars here. We cannot really make a judgment here. So I think we should leave it at that.
But I just want to point out that in Malaysia especially, the Shia are not recognized as part of Islam. It's official. It's actually written as a fatwa in this country.
Okay.
So if I were to follow, if I were to follow the fatwa here in Malaysia, then I would say no. Malaysia doesn't consider the Shias to be Muslims. It's really that simple. I don't know about Bangladesh, but this is the fatwa in Malaysia. Okay.
Yeah, but then again, like like the Shia term is a bit ambiguous. So
Yeah, you
first
can
of
look
all,
at it and
like
look at it
some
that way
people would
as well.
argue, like in the earlier periods, the term Shia
Yeah,
would
yeah,
often refer to like followers or early companions. So
yes, yes,
it depends on like the type of
yes,
what do you mean
exactly.
by Shia exactly.
Yes,
But
exactly.
regardless, let's continue, inshallah.
Yeah, let's continue. All right. Yeah. Oh, this is another muka minta penumbuk, as I would say. Okay. Yeah.
Salman Rushdie. And when Salman Rushdie did not die, it was in fact, the attacker did in fact point out that, that he's very surprised that Salman Rushdie did not die. So he had the clear intention to kill him. This devout Muslim who intended to kill Salman Rushdie did this for
Where do you
his
get he's a devout Muslim?
Devout Muslim. Where did he get the idea that this guy is a devout Muslim? Oh my God! Why did he assume that this guy is a devout Muslim to the point that, I mean, if is he the only person who's a devout Muslim that would want to stab Salman Rushdie to death? I mean, so it means that in the whole there's about 1.8 billion Muslims around the world, and only this guy is devout enough to stab Salman Rushdie. Does that make any sense to you? Yeah, you see where I'm getting at. So he's the only person in this world who's devout enough to stab Salman Rushdie. I'm pretty sure there are many or thousands of devout Muslims around the world, and they have not stabbed Salman Rushdie anyway. So you see the flaw in the logic, right? Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, can
Yeah.
I share a few things just to
Yeah, sure.
clear up
Go ahead.
this
Go ahead.
misconception regarding why what this guy did is against Islam?
Yeah.
So, for example, let me share the screen.
Yeah. Walaikum salam. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a hadith. It's on Sahih al-Bukhari. It's a hadith on treachery. Ibn Umar reported, the Messenger of Allah, peace and peace be upon him, said, when Allah gathers the earlier and later generations on the day of judgment, he will raise a banner for every treacherous person. It will be announced that this is the treachery of this person, the son of this person. So here, this hadith makes it clear that if someone commits treason or someone betrays someone as a Muslim, then that is considered a grave crime in Islam and those people will be humiliated on the day of judgment. So if you have a contract with someone and you violate that contract, then that is a crime under Sharia. Okay, that is a crime under Sharia. So you cannot do that. This is why when you go to a non-Muslim country and you have a contract with the government that you obey their laws and stuff like that, you cannot violate those laws. Okay, otherwise you're committing treachery, and that is an offense in Islam. So there's more hadith regarding this. There's another one. Hold on, let me see. But although I think this is about other Muslims. Let me share the screen. This is about obeying Muslim leaders, because even scholars say that these type of things are not allowed. But even our reporter, the Prophet peace be upon him, said, "It is a duty upon a Muslim man to listen and obey authorities, whether he likes it or not. Whether he likes it or not." Unless they command sinful disobedience. If they command a sinful disobedience, then there is no listening or obedience to them. So, in general, like you're not actually allowed to disobey your leader unless that leader says something that is against Islam, or even in this case, there are categories. Like, for example, you can just do rebellion or like protest and stuff like that. So I think these two hadith makes it clear that what this guy did is a crime according to Sharia. You cannot just go to another land where you have a deal with them and then violate that deal as against Islam.
Exactly. Yes. It's not lawful.
And if you look at like any like fatwa site, they'll say the same thing.
Yep. So you can't just simply go to another country. I mean, another land which is not governed by Sharia and just simply take the law into your own hands, so to speak. Okay. And by the way, apostates can't just simply be killed on the streets. You need to actually arrest them. You need to actually bring them to court, and they need to be tried. You can't just simply take the law into your own hands. Like, for example, that person is a thief or a robber. You can't just take a knife and stab the robber, even though you know that he robs. You need to bring him to the police, and the police will arrest him and will bring him to court. That is how the justice process works. can't just simply make a decision. Oh, that guy is a robber, I'm going to stab him because he's a robber. No, it's not how it works.
By the way, there's actually another hadith that maybe I'll find it later on. So basically, in the
Right.
hadith, a companion of the Prophet, asked the Prophet that if I find my wife sleeping with someone, what should I do? Then the Prophet said, "Come to the authorities." Right, and
Yeah.
then the guy
Yeah.
gets angry and he says, "No, if I see this, then I will take my sword and I'll chop off the guy's head."
Yeah.
And the Prophet
Yeah.
said that I think he said something similar to like the jealousy that you have, your leader is more jealous than I, or something along that line. So basically, he says that
Yes,
not
yes.
to do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, he says that your your chief is more jealous than you, and something along the line. I cannot remember the hadith exactly, but he said he
Yeah.
basically
Yeah.
rebuked him at that instant,
Yeah.
which means that you have to listen to your leader. You can just take
Exactly.
laws into your own hands.
Exactly. You can't. There's no such thing as vigilante justice in Islam.
Yeah,
okay?
vigilante justice is not allowed in Islam.
Yeah. It only exists, but it only exists in stories about Batman or Superman or Marvel.
By
Or
the way, that
Marvel
would be haram.
superheroes,
Batman
right?
is doing haram.
Yeah, it is haram. Yeah, what Batman doing is actually haram. But we enjoy watching Batman, catching thieves and robbers, right? But what he is doing is actually haram according to Islamic law.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, I think broader context matter says think about the devout atheists who did mass shootings. Okay, this is a good comment. Yeah. Right. So anyway, let's You want to say anything about
let's
that?
continue.
Okay, let's continue. Yeah.
Let's continue.
Let me bring it on the stream again. All right.
Religion. He had the mission to kill Salman Rushdie and to be rewarded and respected by his religious leaders and authorities. This has to do with the Ayatollah Khomeini of Iran, who ordered this attack on Salman Rushdie. He wanted Salman Rushdie killed.
Yeah, Ayatollah Khomeini, of all people.
By the way, you don't have like any of the animation, but if it was on my channel, I would have shown the animation. So basically, this is a red herring.
Okay.
Red herring is a logical fallacy where you say that you bring up topics that has nothing to do with the debate, and then you refute those topics and act as if like somehow this refuted the topic that we're discussing. Like the topic of the discussion is Islam dangerous to the world? Here we know that these guys violated Islamic laws. So if someone, let's say that there's there's like an American who goes and stabs like another a Russian, then is that considered then can you like blame America for this? No, I mean because he has no connection to like the Americans. Same way if a Muslim like goes out and drinks alcohol and then you say he's drinking, it's the same as me saying a Muslim drinking alcohol Islam is guilty for a Muslim drinking alcohol, right? It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. I mean, why would Muslims want to follow whatever Ayatollah Khomeini says? Okay, I mean, the guy has died for like over 30 years. That's number one. Secondly, he's a Shia scholar, and the majority of Muslims in this world are Sunnis, and we don't follow anything. What a Shia scholar says. And Iran is such a, in comparison to the rest of the Muslim world, Iran is such a small country. Okay, because there are like 1.8 billion, like I said, there were 1.6 to 1.8 billions around the world, Muslims around the world, and this guy who's heading Iran is like how many million? 110 million, 20 million, I don't know, 100 million. It's such a small amount, okay, compared to the majority of Muslims around the world. Okay, it's like a drop in the ocean. So to say that just because Muslims, this one particular Muslim, we don't know whether, okay, let's assume that we don't know whether he's a Shia or not. So he's influenced by this random guy in the middle of nowhere, somewhere in the Muslim world, which the rest of the Muslim world doesn't even follow. Why would you want to assume that this guy, this Khomeini, had any influence upon this other guy? Doesn't make any sense to me, right? Yeah. Like for example, like Biden suddenly says, "Oh, I hate Putin. I want someone to kill Putin." Okay, for causing the war in Ukraine. So if some random guy in Russia suddenly goes to kill Putin, are you going to blame the whole of America for it? sorry, the whole of the Western world for it, just because Biden says that he wants Putin to be killed. You see the logic here, or you see the illogicity of this. Yeah. So yeah. So okay. So do you want to continue?
Yeah, sure. By the way, I'm just looking for the hadith that I talked about.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, you can continue,
Yeah, so-
inshallah.
Okay, I'll continue, inshallah. Right. Yeah.
But the issue is that this is, of course, not just about Iran and about Shia Muslims, which is the case here. We have many such incidents where people go around and try to harm and kill individuals who offend Islam or who offend Muhammad or who offend the Muslims. We have many more examples. Just recently, a woman was brutally attacked, brutally lynched and killed for allegedly disrespecting Muhammad in Nigeria. A woman called Farhunda Malikzada was in recent times brutally lynched. The footage is horrible. It can't be shown here for similar honor-related things. Mashal Khan, who was a student in Pakistan, was lynched and brutally killed because he allegedly committed blasphemy and said some things about Islam, like that is not true, for example. Everyone remembers the Charlie Hebdo attacks. People were brutally murdered simply for drawing cartoons. In recent times, even a teacher, Samuel Paty, he was brutally killed in front of the school where he taught, not even for supporting anything, but simply for showing cartoons in order to discuss the subject of freedom of speech. For that act, Samuel Paty in France
can you pause
was brutally...
it a little bit?
Yeah. So basically, what does any of these incidents
Yeah, okay.
have
So
to do whatsoever with
can
Islam,
I
right?
share something?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. I'll put it on. Right?
Share the
I'll put it
screen.
on. Yes, go ahead.
So if you go to like Islam QA, they have a fatwa on regarding things like blasphemy and things like.
I think Hisham asked something in the chat. I think this is an Apes fan. So let me see.
So, by the way, are you sharing the screen? Can you share the screen?
Yes. Hang on. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So Ibn Mufti al-Halmali, he said the following. May Allah have mercy, he said in Al-Furu 653, it is haram for anyone to carry out hard punishment except the ruler or his deputy. This is something on which the fuqaha of Islam are unanimously agreed, as was stated in Al-Masiyah, Al-Fiqh. The fuqaha are unanimously agreed that the one who should carry out hard punishment is the ruler or his deputy. Whether the punishment is transgression, transgressing one of the limits of Allah, may he be exalted, such as zina, transgression against another person, such as slander, etc. So here, this makes it clear that what this guy did, or what these people did, is clearly against Islam.
Definitely. Yes.
He's saying that something that's against Islam proves that they did it because of Islam. Again, like I said, that's like me saying a Muslim is committing fornicacy is Islam's fault. That makes no sense.
No sense, right? No sense at all. I mean, so this guy Apes was talking about Samuel Paty, Charlie Hebdo, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and then there's this Nigerian girl being killed. So what does all these incidents have anything whatsoever to do with Islam? These are all isolated incidents which have which are separate from the some of them are even separate.
Basically what he's doing is he's committing the questionable cause fallacy, which is that just because there's a correlation doesn't mean there's a causation. Yes, there's a correlation between these people being supposedly being Muslim and there's being a crime, but that doesn't mean that Islam is the thing that caused them to commit the crime. You have to be able to prove that they did it because of, that's what Islam says. But he didn't prove that. He just making this vague assumption doing correlation.
In any case, all these murders, all these killings, assassinations, they have nothing whatsoever to do with Islam, man. It's an incident specific to that location. Like for example, this guy Samuel Paty, right? I mean, he was murdered by this Algerian guy allegedly for saying something in the classroom which insults the Prophet, and then and then one of the students told this to his relative or whatsoever, and then that relative, who happens to be an Algerian guy, stab this guy, right?
Wait,
So
read this Christian comment, Salvation Warrior?
yeah, I think
What's
some
his
of
name?
them are Serbian warrior. Oh,
He
okay.
says
Yeah,
that fornication is legal in Islam.
I mean, come on. We have hard laws for fornication.
We have
Okay,
we have
because
rocks
it's
for
so
that.
ridiculous.
Rocks.
We do
We throw rocks
lapidation
for
on
that.
those who commit. Yeah, we use rocks to commit to to do the punishment for adultery or fornication.
Stoning to death. That's the punishment.
Yeah,
It's
lapidation.
in the Old Testament, by the way. It's also in the Old
The
Testament.
nicer
In
term,
case
the
you
nicer
didn't
term
know.
for it is lapidation. Yes, it's in the Old Testament, by the way. Yes, it is. I
And
think it's in
Jesus approved of
Leviticus.
it.
Yeah. Yep, because Jesus says that he did not come to abolish the law, but to complete it. Okay, so yeah, so I mean, you need to read your own Bible. Yeah, you need to read your own Bible.
Let's continue.
Okay. Yeah, I think the guy is
By the
just
way, can you
accusing
speed
me
it
of
up? Can you
lying
speed it
also.
up? I don't want to hear this guy ramble for like hours.
Okay, let's okay, I'll do that. Let's put at 1.5, I think. Okay, then I'll speed it up.
Beheaded in public for offending Islam. This is a reality, and
oh my
the
God.
issue is that this is not something that is simply, that is just happening.
I put it at 1.5, but I can still hear his voice very slowly. Okay, wait, let me try and put it at 2. All right.
It is something that leads back to Muhammad himself.
Yeah,
Muhammad, the prophet of Islam, is considered the perfect human to ever walk the.
Okay.
Okay,
all
so
right,
it's not most often used this hadith, right? Ka'b bin Ashraf.
There's this incident.
There's a great article.
Incident.
There's a great article. I think you wrote an article on it, right? Can you share the
I
article?
wrote a very long article on it. Yes. If I can find
share
it, I will. Okay. Give me a moment. All right. I can
sure.
share it. Inshallah.
Maybe we can read some of it.
Yeah. And in the meanwhile, maybe you want to entertain this guy, Serbian warrior. He says, yes, I know.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know of Leviticus. Yeah, then you know.
Yeah.
What's the punishment for
no need
fornication?
to teach me Bible, but I think we do need to teach you your Bible because your Bible has this law. Yeah. And then this guy is repeating the lie again. Prostitution. This guy is a joke, man.
How many wives, prostitutes did Solomon had? I forgot.
Yeah, exactly.
400?
I think 1,000. I think I don't remember. I also don't remember. I need to check. The
By
books.
the way, early church fathers did allow concubines. I made videos on it. There are many evidences of it. There are letters of early church fathers talking about taking like this type of wife that's not legitimate wife. So yeah, and also what happened with Lot and his daughter?
Oh, there you are.
I guess that doesn't count as adultery.
Oh yes, the story of Lot's daughters. Basically giving wine to their father, and then making him drunk to the point that he was drunken, and then they had sex with him, and both of them got pregnant because of this. My God, you want to talk about fornication and adultery? I mean, I don't think Christians have any locus standi to be talking about these kind of things because in the Bible it's a lot of it. Okay. It's far worse things than what you claim the Quran says. Okay, so anyway, I found the article. Alhamdulillah. Okay.
Yeah, share and read some of it.
Yeah. It's loading quite slowly on my because the website is still under development. All right. Yeah. So I'm sharing it. Okay. So this is the article. What about the killing of Ka'b ibn Ashraf? Okay. Okay, I have a whole article, and guess what? It was written in. Look at the date.
2006.
Yeah. Okay. This was how many years ago? I mean, September 19 is going to be in 9 days' time, right? So it's like how many years? Just do the math. I think more than 10 years, right? More than 20 years. More than 15 years. Yeah. Wow. See, I wrote this more than 15 years ago, and people are still repeating this lie. Okay. Okay, so blah blah blah. Okay, so let's go through all this. Okay, so it's important for me to read this out because it does explain who Ka'b ibn Ashraf is and what did he do to the point that the Prophet ordered his punishment. Okay, so basically Ka'b ibn Ashraf was a Jew. He used to insult Muslims and especially Muslim women. Okay, he had to be later killed by a Muslim through the permission of the Prophet. And this account is present in Sirat Rasulullah by Ibn Ishaq. I have the book somewhere here. Okay, the following is the account in our own words. So I just, basically I just change it into a proper way to explain it. Okay, so the Prophet asked who would get rid of Ka'b ibn Ashraf for him. A Muslim man responded that he would. Sadly, the Muslim who agreed with the Prophet did not eat for 3 days, except for that which was required. When this was informed to the Prophet asked him the reason. The man told him that he had taken a responsibility to kill Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf, which he could not handle. So the Muslim asked the Prophet's permission to tell lies or to deceive Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf. Then the Prophet gave him the permission. The Muslim went to Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf, said something deceptive, and made him come out of his house and then killed him. So the attack raised by anti-Islam people here or Islamophobes here is that the Prophet gave another man to do the job of assassination and gave him
also
the permission to die.
another just to add one point here.
Yeah.
You need to understand the Prophet ﷺ was the leader of his tribe or leader of that area, and the
exactly.
Jews,
He was the king and the ruler. Yes, that's
the
right.
Jews and these other tribes, they had deals with him.
Yes.
And so you cannot just have a deal with a person, then insult them, the person that you have a deal with. That is a violation of the treaty. Like I don't.
Exactly.
So this situation is completely different than what happened with like someone like Samuel Paty or whatever. But like these people, these Muslims that went there and killed him, they are not leaders. They're not like political authorities. So these two situations is not the same. So basically, what Apos is doing is committing the faulty comparison fallacy. He's trying to compare two different things. He's trying to compare like an apple with like a cell phone. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So basically, what I did in this article is also to explain the context of the situation. So to read further in the article, I wrote here: we must first of all understand the situation of the Muslims was very precarious, even in the aftermath of their victory at Badr. By the way, this took place after Badr. Okay, so this was the first war in Islam, and the Muslims, with an army or a band, I don't know whether you can call it even an army, about 313 people defeated 1,000.
By the way, I also heard that Ka'b bin Ashraf was actually trying to incite people against the Prophet, or even try to kill him, or was planning to.
So this was part of it, right? So okay, to continue the explanation, even though the Quraysh were defeated and had retreated back to the city, the Muslims still faced the danger of internal dissent within the walls of Medina. Okay, and then the Muslims had just expelled the Banu Kainuka from their homes after their open declaration of war, okay, against the Prophet and the early Muslim community. The Banu Kainuka were the first of the Jews to break their agreement with the Muslims and go to war, and had to be dealt with swiftly, so as to quash any ideas of the other Jewish tribes to instigate a war against the Muslims, because the Muslims were in a very precarious position. They just won a battle at Badr, but the situation was very precarious. Anyone could take advantage of the situation. Okay, so it was within this context that Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf took advantage of by inveighing against the Prophet and reciting verses bewailing the Quraysh who were slain at Badr. So this guy Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf was making a lot of poetry. This would be considered sedition, okay, in modern day terms. Okay, so back in those days, in the Arab during the Arab tribes, in the time of the Prophet, they would do poetry or qasida. Okay, so this is the poetry. Okay, so the poetry goes like this: Badr's meal ground out the blood of his people. At events at Badr, you should weep and cry. The best of the people were slain. Okay, this is referring to the Quraysh, by the way, the pagan Quraysh, not the Muslims. Okay, don't think it's strange that the princes were left lying. How many noble, handsome men, the refugee of the homeless, was slain. Liberal when the stars gave no rain, who bore others' burdens, ruling and taking their due forth. And then some people whose anger pleases me say, Ka'b ibn Ashraf is utterly dejected. They are right. On that, the earth, when they were killed, had split asunder and engulfed its people. That he who spread the report had been thrust through, or lived covering blind and deaf. I was told that all of Banu Mughira is one of the tribes in Mecca, okay, at the time. I was told that all of Banu Mughira were humiliated and brought low by the death of Abdul Hakam. Abdul Hakam, by the way, is Abu Jahl, okay? And the two sons of Rabi'ah with him. And Muwad and Munabih and the others did not attain such honor as those who were slain. Okay. So in this, and then the poem continues, praising the deaths of the Quraysh pagans, who were, by the way, the enemies of the Muslims. And then in the last stanza, in this very last stanza, it also says here, I was told that Al-Harith ibn Hisham is doing well and gathering troops to visit Yathrib, Medina, to visit Yathrib with armies. For only the noble, handsome man protects the loftiest reputation. So it's actually
So
inciting.
basically it's like a war
Yeah,
poetry. So in case you guys
yes,
don't know, there's a
yes,
context to this.
exactly.
So poetry
Exactly,
was
yes,
actually
exactly.
seen as a type of weapon itself. Like, for example,
Yes,
oftentimes what the tribal Arabs would do is that when they're in the
Yep.
field, they would actually
Yes.
recite poetry with each other.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
I actually
yes,
saw like a
yes.
lecture on, like, I don't know,
Yes.
what's the university
Yes.
professor talking
I
about
would
like
say,
Khalid ibn
I guess
Walid.
in the modern day time, it would be like oration or
We don't have
or
this in modern
speech.
times. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah,
We don't
in
have
modern
this.
times we have a speech.
But the thing is that,
long
you need to
speech,
understand
yeah.
is that at that time, the Arabs actually put a lot of importance in poetry. So
Yes,
to the
that's
point,
right,
it
that's right,
almost
that's right.
worked as like a media, right? So
Yes,
basically, this is like
exactly.
propaganda in a way. So
Exactly,
basically, what would
exactly.
happen is they would field in the in a battlefield, and
Yes.
the opposite army would select their
Yes.
poets, and the opposite
Yes.
army would select their poets, and they would have like a battle,
Yes.
like a rap
Yes.
battle, and
Yes.
whoever won that battle would be considered the
Yes.
victor, and the other person
Yes.
would be shamed, and they will leave the
Exactly.
battlefield.
Yeah.
So you
I
need to
would say that
understand this
I would
context
say
before
yeah.
understanding. This isn't just poetry. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
you need to
yeah.
understand how the Arabs are seeing
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say that this is like a rap battle, maybe someone
Battle
saying
poem.
this and then
Basically, he's riling
yeah.
people up. And
Yes,
this is how
exactly,
it's
exactly.
seen, because poetry is a
Okay.
form of weapon for them.
Exactly. So the worst part of this poetry, this very long poetry, is that Ka'b bin Ashraf actually made several verses deriding the Muslim women, okay, in Medina, and he insulted this woman by the name al-Fadl binti al-Harith. Okay, so the verses go: "Are you off without stopping in the valley and leaving al-Fadl in Mecca? Out would come what she had brought forth from the peddler of bottles, Hannah and Haidar. What lies twixt ankle and elbow in motion when she tries to stand and does not." Okay, so this particular phrase here, "what lies twixt ankle and elbow in motion when she tries to stand and does not," is explained in the footnote of Ibn Ishaq Sirat Rasulullah. So the footnote says, presumably her buttocks are mentioned because they would be between her ankle and her elbows as she reclined. Large and heavy buttocks were the marks of female beauty among the old Arabs. So he's actually insulting, he's talking about the buttocks of a woman, okay, which by the way in Islam is a big no-no. Okay, yeah. So this was the reason. So this is the context as to why.
By the way, if the
yeah.
Muslims did something similar, things would
Yeah.
be way worse than this. Okay, like for
Exactly.
example,
Exactly.
you need to understand that when the Quranic verses was revealed, that's the reason he was expelled. So
No.
both parties were doing the same thing. So
Yeah.
the treaty was that you don't do that, because that's the reason they literally left their home for, and you're doing the same thing again. So why would a leader allow that? Like, that doesn't
Yes.
make sense.
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
he wants his community to be safe, right? If
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
leader with a
Yeah.
common sense would want that.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
so
Yes.
on top of it, he's committing treason. He's violating the treaty, and so
Yes.
he was
Yeah.
punished.
So actually in the next section of my article, I actually mentioned one part of the Medina Covenant, which was signed between the Muslims and the Jews, on which particular clause that Ka'b Ashraf violated the treaty. Okay, so if you read, I mean, it's quite long to read it. So anyone can just go to this article, right?
Can you
So
read the
basically,
important part? Like
let me see now. It says here, loyalty is a protection against treachery. The close friends are as themselves. None of them shall go out to war save with the permission of Muhammad, but he shall not be prevented from taking revenge for a wound. He who slays a man without warning slays himself and his whole household, unless it is one who has wronged him. For God will accept that. Okay. The Jews must bear their expenses and the Muslims their expenses. Blah blah blah. Okay. A woman shall only be given protection with the consent of family. If any dispute or controversy likely to cause trouble should arise, it must be referred to God and to Muhammad, the apostle of God. Okay. So so this whole passage actually says that anyone who goes against the prophet or goes against the Muslims, is considered to be treachery if you go against these two. All right. So and then
I mean, this is understandable. This is the same thing in international laws. Like, for example,
yes, exactly.
when you have treaty between different countries, you have certain things that you're not allowed to do. That's how treaties work.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, I have this quote here from Akram Dia Al Umari. He wrote this book called The Meccan Crucible, right? And the Medina and the sunset in Medina. So this guy, this scholar Akram Dia Al Umari made a comment regarding the.
By the way, just
I can
to
read it
clarify, just one thing to clarify.
Yeah.
In atheism, none of this is wrong.
Good point. This is wrong. Good point. None of this is wrong in atheism. In atheism, it's absolutely fine because there's no laws. What are the standards for conducting
and even in liberalism, this is completely fine. It is completely consistent with liberalism. I mean, look at what happened with like Snowden, or you brought up this point before, and also you cannot Snowden, like talk about
I did bring it up.
HOLOCAUST, people who deny it, they're actually put to jail.
Not just Snowden, but Julian Assange. Assange. Look at what happened to him.
Not just them. like if you like, I mentioned this before. There's actually a law in the UK where you cannot refuse to give jobs to someone based on their gender, which is a violation of free speech because you're limiting how people express themselves. Right.
Exactly.
Which is under free speech.
So
so they're fine. So they are allowed to limit people's free speech, but Muslims aren't allowed to do that.
Yeah. So anyway, I want to read this. I want to read out this passage from Akram Dia Al Umari because he made it on point. Okay. So I'll read this passage. Okay. So the killing of Ibn al-Ashraf might be seen as an act of treachery, but on further reflection, one realizes that Ibn al-Ashraf was party to the treaty, according to the document by which the Jews of Banu an-Nadir and others were committed. By slandering the Prophet, and this is very important, by slandering the Prophet who was head of state, and by showing his sympathy for the enemies of the Muslims, lamenting their dead and inciting them against the Muslims, as I have read out the poetry earlier, right? Ibn al-Ashraf had broken the treaty and declared war on the Muslims, and his blood could be shed with impunity. As for his being deceived and killed by those he had trusted, such action is legally permissible in the case of those who have declared war on the Muslims. And it was carried out by the order of the messenger. Why is legal? Because the messenger, the Prophet ﷺ, was the Amir. Okay, he's the leader. Okay, the messenger, however, did not blame Banu an-Nadir for Ibn al-Ashraf's crime. It was sufficient to have him killed for his treachery. The Prophet, in fact, renewed his treaty with them. So, it's clear that only Ka'ab Ibn Ashraf was singled out for his treachery, and he was killed because of that, because he made those disgusting poetry against the Muslims.
And the thing is that you need to understand, like I said before, poetry was a tool of weapon. It was a tool of war, and as I said, at that time, war poetry was considered a way you fight your opponent. Or fight your
I was just going to say about this because I have a passage here in this very same article about Arabic poetry. Okay, so I wrote here: Arabic poetry is a priori very influential and cannot be thought of in the terms of English poetry or any other forms of poetry in other languages.
Exactly.
And then as Philip K. Hitti himself notes, Philip K. Hitti, by the way, is an Arab historian. Okay, no people in the world perhaps manifest such enthusiastic admiration for literary expression and are so moved by the word, spoken or written, as the Arabs. Hardly any language seems capable of exercising over the minds of its users such irresistible influence as Arabic. Okay, so there you go. See, my article actually covers most of the points. It's amazing that my article written 15 years ago actually refused this guy, some 15 years in 2022.
Yeah, I think we destroyed his point already. Let's just continue.
I think anyone who actually reads the article can just get it, right? So oh my god, I mean, the guy is just
leave the article link on your channel, inshallah, so people can
I will, inshallah, I will. But you see, the thing is, my website is actually currently under redevelopment, so I don't know. Let's I'll see whether I can put the link there. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Right. So let's
continue.
So I think I saw a Christian here quoting John 6:53. I mean, what does that
Let's
have to
ignore
do
them,
with
Aki. Let's just continue. I
Yeah,
think we're already
I
late.
mean,
We need to get to.
Yeah, all right. Okay, let's
A lot of
continue.
it we haven't
Islam has
gotten
something
to.
unique, which is that Islam has a book which is supposedly authored by the Almighty Allah, who knows everything, and the commands in that book are valid for all times. And Muhammad is supposed to be the perfect messenger for all times. Everyone is supposed to imitate him and follow him and glorify him, do whatever he does, do whatever he says, and abstain from whatever he tells you to abstain. Muhammad was a prophet who had a mob with him and who commanded the killing of people who hurt him. In this quote, he says, "Who is willing to kill Ka'b bin Ashraf, who has hurt
You just
Allah?"
refuted this.
Don't ask me how you can hurt the Almighty Allah. What is being said here is obviously that
So
offense
what?
was caused, which is why
In your
he was
worldview,
for
that's
that
not a
person to be killed,
crime.
which was of course done later
Yeah.
on.
Why is that
When
morally
it comes
wrong?
to more incidents or examples of Muhammad
Exactly.
ordering such killings, not sure if you can, do you see this right now, the website? Okay. So Muhammad was very explicit in his mission. He said, for example, I have been commanded to fight against the people till they testify that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad
Nothing
is
to do
Allah's
whatsoever
servant and
with what
messenger.
happened to
He had a
Ka'b
very
bin
clear mission
Ashraf.
to not be peaceful, not spread peace, not say, hey, let's not fight, let's talk, let's spread a beautiful belief, a beautiful new system. No, he came with the explicit intention to fight and to convert people. He was somebody who prophesied. In fact, this is a prophecy that is very well known throughout the Muslim world. He said that
Can you pause?
Yeah, he's talking.
So
He's talking
he
about
spotted a
things
lot
that's
of
happening.
nonsense there. One point
it's a lot
I
of
wanna,
nonsense.
I want to clarify, which is that he said something along the line of, that I came here to fight people. Yeah, so what? Like what? What does he mean
So,
by fighting exactly? Is he talking about
I mean,
killing
what-
anyone?
No, he seems. That is why during the debate, I actually mentioned this. I said that fighting doesn't mean enforcing the peace with violence doesn't make it wrong. Doesn't make the violence wrong, right? It doesn't mean that violence is wrong, and I mean you can't expect
for
people
example,
to sing
if I
kumbaya, right?
Yeah, sure. For example, if I say that I'm fighting to protect, like I'm fighting to protect my child, right, in a court of custody, in the court, right?
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing? Or if I say that I'm in a UFC ring and I'm fighting my opponent, is that a bad thing? No, you're supposed to fight fight people.
Or let's say let's say you are
right.
So let's say you are a
supposed to
soldier.
fight in in the boxing ring, right?
Like for
So
example,
it depends
let's say
on the context of the word, right? So here, when the prophet is talking about fighting, he's talking about people who are constantly oppressing him, oppressing his followers, killing his followers, and just sometimes literally starving them. So that's what he's talking about. So what do you mean? And also, he's talking about people who reject God's messengers, who have repeatedly come and warned them, and they refuse to acknowledge their creator. And on top of it, they're oppressing their followers. That's who he's talking about fighting. He's not talking about fighting like innocent people. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it clear that, he didn't, I think it's 68 or something, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it clear that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not tell you to, move away from, to not be nice to disbelievers who did not kick you out of your home. He makes it clear. So clearly he's not talking about that. He's talking about fighting people who are actively opposing, and oppressing his people.
Okay, yeah. So that's right. So as I was saying that let's say in the context of war, you are a soldier fighting for your country, and then you want to let's say maybe Bangladesh is fighting against maybe I don't know maybe China, for example. Maybe China wants to invade Bangladesh, and then you say that I want to make war against
China already invaded Bangladesh.
No, I just giving an example, right? Okay, so I'm talking about literal war. So maybe China is invading Bangladesh, and then you say I want to make war against China to protect my family. Is that wrong? Is that considered to be wrong? Is that illegal? Is that immoral for want to defend your country? You see, so that's the point. You see, it's the same thing with Malaysia.
How about this? What if tomorrow America says we want to wage war against North Korea? Like, is anyone gonna object to that? Is anyone gonna think that that's wrong or bad?
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. You see,
it depends on the context.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's debate about the context. That's fine, but you can't just say that simply him saying I'm gonna fight certain people is bad. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and if you look at the screenshot, I mean right now in the video, he's quoting the hadith regarding the Jews, right? In the future, where the prophet said that the hour will not be established until you fight with the Jews, and the stones behind the Jew will be hiding, and say, "Oh Muslims, there's a Jew behind me, so kill him." I mean, what's wrong with this? I mean,
which Jew is he talking about?
Yeah, No. This hadith is talking about the future. It's talking about the hour, right? It's
by the way,
talking about,
there's a commentary
yeah.
on this hadith. Okay, this is specifically talking about the followers of
Yeah.
Ad-Dajjal, I think.
Yes. Okay.
And I've seen
Brother
this
Ilyas,
commentary, so it's not
Waalaikumsalam.
talking about
Yeah.
like every Jew out there.
Yeah, exactly. So so there's another comment here by Brother Nizal. How strictly does Islam limit permissibility of lying within a war context? Is it still permissible during Cold Wars or exponential or during relative peace? Yes, it is permissible during war because the Prophet himself said lying, war is deception. This is a hadith, right? So in the context of war, lying is permissible. Okay, and but you cannot do lying without the permission of the Amir. Okay, you can't just simply say, "Oh, okay, I'm doing this for the country or whatever," and then I go into war and I lie. No, it has to be with the explicit permission of your commanding officer or with the Amir or with your leader. Okay, like for example, maybe your sultan or your king or your president. Okay, then you can go with the explicit permission of that with the authorities concerned. Only then can you do lying or you commit lying during war, and only in the context of war, because once the war is over, you can't go around lying, right? So yeah, I mean, who doesn't lie during war? Anyway? Have you seen the Americans? How they commit war? Okay.
By the way, Sebastian Warrior is being stupid as well. He says he talks about all Jews. Where does he say that? Sebastian Warrior.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't say that at all. This is about the future. Okay, it's an apocalyptic hadith. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
have you about the followers of the Dajjal?
Yeah,
if you read any of the commentary, you'll see this.
Yeah, he should read Revelations, the book of Revelations. There's a lot of it. Okay? Yeah, that's what I mentioned in the debate as well. Okay, so Brother Nizal again, I think the contention AP was having with the hadith was that the Prophet claiming to fight until the infidels had converted into Islam versus just the point of ceasing hostilities against Islam. I mean,
even in that context, let's say for the second one, that is the case. So what?
Yeah.
Like back then, they didn't have treaties. Like he's talking about countries that doesn't have treaties. Okay, because we know that the Prophet made treaties, which itself refutes this point.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not talking about countries that he doesn't have he has a treaty with. That's not what he's talking about.
Yes, exactly. If the Prophet is intending to make war against everyone around him until they submit to Islam, then why make treaties in the first place? Right? I mean, we have on record that he made treaties again. I mean, he wrote letters to Rome and to Ethiopia, right? So I mean, why would he want to write letters, for against? I mean, to Ethiopia, to Rome, to even to Persia at the time. Of course, the Persians, they rejected it, but that's not the point. The point is he wrote letters to them, wanting treaties with them, right?
Yeah, and I think again, like going back to the commentary, again, all of these hadith are in relation to the people who are opposing the religious freedom of Muslims back in the day, or becoming a barrier in that. So when that happens, of course, I mean, unless the liberals are going to claim that we don't care about religious freedom, he was doing it for religious freedom. So it's completely well within liberal idea. Like it's not even against liberalism in that sense. So, but regardless,
Brother Ilyas actually made a comment here. Western explanation of intolerance is about imposing elderly or death, meaninglessness, dissidence, immorality, and sodomy. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, just look at the history of Western colonialism, okay, and how it spread throughout the world. Okay, I mean, basically the Westerners, they came to my region and they conquered. Not Medina, sorry. They conquered Malacca, the Sultanate, the Malacca Sultanate with arms. Okay, they conquered an empire in this region which had lasted for 200 years before it fell to the Western powers. Okay, so so tell me again about peace and security from the West. Okay, tell me again about
good point by Elias.
Yeah.
But okay, let's continue. Let's not waste time. We have a lot to get to.
Yes, I mean, history is so clear on this.
The hour will not be established until you fight the Jews. And the stone behind which a Jew will be hiding will say, "Oh, Muslim, there's a Jew behind me, so kill him." Muslims globally know this. This is Muhammad's prophecy. He says that the hour will not be established until this happens. So this
it's a prophecy.
Muslims must fight the Jews.
Prophecy.
And even the rocks and stones will say, "There's a Jew behind me."
In the Quran, there are many verses about the Jews and how Jews should be treated.
Yeah, it's a prophecy, and
by I think who is it by? Regarding how to treat dhimmis. What's the point of dhimmis if we are supposed to fight Jews?
I mean, it's not that Islam is telling us to go and hunt every single Jew and kill them, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, Al-Andalus would not have happened if that were the case, you see.
By the way, this
The
scumbag knows
yeah,
this. This scumbag knows this. He has made
yeah,
this point over and over again in his debate against like
yeah,
Brother Daniel. That
yes,
even he made a video with like the other psychopath, where he's talking
yes,
about he put a video of like a Sheikh Asim Al Hakim, where he's talking about jizya.
yeah,
So he
yes,
acknowledges
yes,
that jizya is an option. Then why is he saying
yes.
we're supposed to fight Jews?
I know the guy is just
This guy's
Islamophobe.
dishonest. Like I said, like
No,
he knows
he's
this.
just he's an Islamophobe. And that is what I call him out for during the debate. I call him to the face. I call him an Islamophobe to the face. Okay.
Muhammad also famously said that whoever changes his Islamic religion should be killed. Islam has an apostasy law that is very widely known, which Muslim scholars.
Yeah, so does the Bible. If you read Deuteronomy 13, the Bible has this as well. Okay, so basically this Arabic verse of the Arabic sentence of this, whoever changes Islamic his religion, then kill him, is basically man badala dinahu faqtulhu. So this is a hadith from Bukhari.
Yeah, I mean, like, why would
Yeah,
he like want people to go to the hellfire? Why would anyone
yeah,
want people
exactly.
to go to the hellfire or make ways so people can't do
Yeah,
that? So that's the first
yeah,
point. And second
exactly,
point is from
exactly.
like a leadership position, if someone like all of a sudden leaves the religion, they're violating
Yeah,
the contract. They
exactly,
have, especially if you live in a theocratic state, that's violation of the
yeah,
contract. You're no
exactly.
longer obeying the contract, because then
Yeah,
I would like further, because in Islam, like if there's like a jihad situation, Muslim
yeah,
armies have to fight. Like if every
exactly,
able-bodied Muslim man have to fight, there can be situations
exactly.
like that. And so
Yes,
in that
yes,
case, they can just simply say, "Oh, I don't believe in Islam anymore." So they don't have to be
yeah,
soldiers. In that case, you could literally lose the war, which could jeopardize your nation. So these
yeah,
laws
yeah,
are makes perfect sense if you think about from a geopolitical and a theocratic point of view and geopolitical point of view,
yeah,
because
yeah,
no one
yeah,
would allow desertions like that. And even in
yeah,
America,
yeah,
like you can't desert the army, like you're gonna get killed for that.
yeah,
Especially in like
exactly, exactly.
in the Constitution of the U.S., they have like laws regarding uh, treason. So this is not anything special. You guys have these same laws. So what's the issue here?
Yeah, 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 yeah. So I don't know. There's this guy who's Monjo. I mean, sorry, this guy purposely trying to get my name wrong. Don't forget to answer 2 and 5 mistake. This is not the topic of the debate. Sorry, of this post debate
Okay, yeah.
analysis.
Let's
So
ignore the comments for
yeah,
now. Let's just focus on the video.
yeah. I think the guy is
Yeah,
just trying to distract us from the from the post debate analysis. So let's continue.
Across the Islamic schools have established and followed. People like me who leave Islam are supposed to be killed according to the Islamic religion and jurisprudence. Now, yeah, okay. Of course, Muhammad's words are not the only problem here. When it comes to the Quran, we can also find in Quran chapter 9, verse 29, which is one of my favorite Quran verses to y'all.
Yeah, Surah At-Tawbah. Okay. Okay. While I'm playing this, I'm going to pull up the article regarding Surah At-Tawbah. I have it on my website.
yeah.
Honest, that the Quran commands the following: fight against those who do not believe in Allah or in the last day, and who do not consider unlawful what Allah and His Messenger have made unlawful, and who do not adopt the religion of truth, Islam, from those who were given the scripture. So those who don't believe in Allah, in the last day, in Muhammad, and those among the people of the scripture, meaning the Christians and Jews who don't adopt Islam, are supposed to be fought according to the Quran until they give the jizya, which is an Islamic concept, which is basically protection money. You subjugate the opponents.
Yeah, when you don't have treaty,
for exchange,
when you don't have treaty,
life as a
no
subject, second
country,
Yeah,
all countries
exactly.
consider when you don't have
Yeah.
a treaty. Of course,
Yeah.
in that case, and also like he's talking about context of warfare. The fight against those who do not believe. Who is he talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
so basically, he's taking things out of context. This is what they do. Like, this is nothing surprising. Like, for example, even if
I have an
yeah.
old article. I found an article here regarding jizya in Islam on my website.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, you were saying, yeah, continue. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, show me which country in the world is like okay with like another country that they don't have treaty with, that they're like aggressing, becoming aggressive towards them, and that they're just fine with it. Like no country in the world would be okay with that, and especially back in the day, invading another country was completely normal, because you have to understand this from a historical perspective.
Yes.
Like if you're in a country that doesn't have like any kind of strong border, you're just like a small tribe. Of course, you're gonna talk about like fighting people who you don't have treaty with. And because those people either is going to attack you or they're going to make a treaty with you. If they don't make a treaty with you, you have to expect that you're going to get attacked anytime.
Exactly.
And that's the reality back then. So
because back then we don't have the concept of nation state, so there was no such thing as Bangladesh, there was no such thing as India, there was no such thing as Pakistan, there was no such thing as Malaysia, there was no such thing as the United States, there was no such thing as United Kingdom. Everyone were conquering each other. Okay, so basically each empire was expanding their borders for as far as
like for example, imagine like you have like you're like a small tribe, and you have the Mongols like camping like 100 miles from now. Like, are you seriously gonna and you try to make peace with them, but they don't respond? Do you honestly think they're going to stay there and not do anything?
Exactly.
Like, not gonna invade your land?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
We have Myanmar on the border of us, right? And Myanmar constantly aggressing towards our sea. Like you see this there. Of course, there's even a little clash, little like war that happened regarding the Naf River that I think I told you about. And these things happen. Like border is very fickle thing.
Yes,
like for example, and back then they didn't even have the concept of border, so people didn't have any security.
Yes,
so
exactly.
If the Quran is talking about fighting against those who do not believe, it's in the context of that. Okay, it's talking about in the context of no like a treaty, no border state.
No borders. Exactly.
And it's talking about the safety of the Muslims and the safety of dhimmis. Or people, non-Muslims who live in the Muslim state. It's not just talking about only Muslims. Because the Prophet was leader of both Muslims and non-Muslims. He's talking about from a state perspective. This is a political like ruling.
Exactly. And also you have to keep in mind that Surah At-Tawbah was revealed right before, I think right after the pagans of Quraysh, the pagan Quraysh of Makkah betrayed the Muslims or broke the treaty, the truce at Hudaybiyah. So this is one of the reasons why Surah At-Tawbah was revealed. And you also need to consider that this is also specific against the Quraysh of Mecca. So basically the whole surah is instructing.
By the way, I have a video on my channel on David Wood and the verse 929. If you guys want to see it, it's like an hour-long explanation and refutation of that psychopath. So if you guys want to check that out, you can check that out.
That's right. Yeah. So anyway, shall we continue?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Citizens in your empire, and if they don't pay that, then they are basically fair game. It says until they give the jizya while they are humbled. It was always known in Islamic history that this is not merely a tax like protection money imposed on the disbelievers to humiliate.
To get to the main point, to pause for a bit. And the main point here, none of this makes Islam any more dangerous than any other political ideology or any other religion in the world. Okay, it's because the point is saying is that Islam is dangerous. But these things have place in your own country's constitution, your own laws. Like the U.S. violated a bunch of international laws, and conquered Iraq, conquered Afghanistan. They placed sanction on Russia now. Russian citizens are in trouble, or wherever they go to a different country. So they're doing this, and he's fine with it. But somehow, if Islam does something or has commandments that is similar, he has an issue.
I mean, the guy should just read Numbers 31. Okay, in the Bible, you have a lot of these wars happening, and I don't see him complaining about it. I mean, if he wants to be fair, he should be complaining about the Bible as well, because the Bible has much more violent verses, okay, compared to the Quran. Okay, the Quran injunction for war is within a specific context, but in the Bible itself, it clearly says, the people's concerned, the Banu Israel committing war against the other tribes. Okay, and no, this guy Apus, he doesn't seem to have any problems with it. So okay, so so shall we continue?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's go.
Not equal to Muslims who just pay taxes. The Quran further very often describes disbelievers in extremely dehumanizing and insulting ways. For example, of course, a Muslim apologist would come and say, "Oh, this is just descriptive," but it says that Allah created for hell many of the humans and the jinn, which are mythical beings that don't exist. And it further says that they are like livestock. Rather, they are
circular reasoning.
Further, it says in other.
He's saying that just because the Quran says that.
I'm just saying that circular reasoning. He's already assuming Islam is false and arguing from that.
Yeah, exactly. So because his rationale is that because the Quran talks about the disbelievers being put into hell, therefore it's demeaning to the disbelievers. What? What? I mean, that's the whole point of religion, right? You believe in God, you worship him, you obey his rules. If you disbelieve in him, then you're going to hell. Is that really that simple? Why is this demeaning? If you are a disbeliever, you don't believe in that particular religion, of course you will get punished for it. So why is it demeaning?
Like
Why? It
like
doesn't
for
make any sense
example,
to me. Yeah.
just to point this out. For example,
Yeah.
imagine there's like these COVID restrictions, right? And someone
Yeah.
goes out there and says, "I don't believe COVID exists," right?
Yeah.
And he goes
Yeah.
out there, he tries
Yeah.
tries to promote this like kind of like idea that
Yeah.
COVID is like doesn't exist. Then
Yeah.
are you going to like say that that's just the opinion, like fine, let them be? No, you're gonna censor him. You're gonna possibly that guy will possibly go to jail. That guy will
Exactly.
possibly go to jail.
Yeah.
So and there will be a lot of attack against this guy. They'll say, "Oh, this guy doesn't understand science. He's an idiot," and that this and that, because
Yeah.
and so you don't have an issue with that. But if this is the case, that people will go to the hellfire, and there are people who will reject it not based on logic, based on their own arrogance, then and then if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that these people will go to the hellfire, then why is that wrong? He's just stating facts.
Yeah.
Because
he knows he's the all. I mean, we Muslims believe that God is all powerful, all knowing. So,
Yeah.
if you can empirically prove that hell doesn't exist, then then you may have a point. But of course, you can't. See, no one can. Okay.
No,
So,
I mean
yeah.
the point here is that if Islam is true, then
Yeah.
these are factual statements. Like for example,
Yes.
I don't like the fact that the earth constantly pulls me down, but me saying that, me saying that gravity exists shouldn't insult me though. Like whereas I know that gravity exists, but
Yeah.
how is that insulting? Like it's just a
Yes,
statement of
exactly.
fact.
No, it's ridiculous. I mean, yeah. I mean, no, he's just being annoying and dismissive as usual. This is typical modus, by the way. If you notice that, yeah. You see, yeah.
Let's
So,
continue now.
yeah. All right, let's continue. Yeah.
Quran verses that those who disbelieve among the people of the scripture, being Jews and Christians, and the polytheists will be in hell forever. Those are the worst of creatures. It says the similar things in other verses as well. It repeatedly describes the disbelievers, those who don't believe in Islam, as basically lowly creatures, which deserve no dignification. This is what.
Yeah. So,
So what does he
basically
want? Does he want
Yeah.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to praise people who betrayed him?
Yeah, I mean, why would God, in His infinite wisdom and mercy, would want to love those who disbelieve in Him? Okay, I mean, of course,
No,
He's going
not even
to.
disbelief. They
Yeah,
betrayed him
yeah,
because he's constantly
yeah,
taking care of them,
yes,
right?
yeah. Basically,
Like
yeah,
the
basically,
reason
he's
like people like
yeah,
Apos can like insult
yes,
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala
yes,
is because he's allowing that to
yes,
happen. So he's
yes,
constantly taking care of him, and you're insulting him, you're disbelieving him, you're betraying him,
yes,
and then you're saying that he's supposed to love you and care for you. That's not
yeah, exactly,
just.
yes, yes,
Of course, he's
yeah.
not
I
gonna
mean,
do that.
yes, exactly. Of course, He's not going to say, "Oh, you believers, you're going to heaven, and disbelievers, you're also going to heaven, or you're going to be forgiven that easily." No, I don't think. Would any sane
And
person
and
would do that?
and the thing is that if he
Yeah.
did do that, that would be unjust. That wouldn't be
Yes.
just.
Yes.
Because in
Exactly.
Islam we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly. So basically, the Quranic injunction is that the believers, those who believe in Him, who worship Him, who obey Him, will be given paradise, and those who disbelieve in Him openly, those who betray Him, those who go against God, obviously they are going to hellfire, and they are the
Now,
worst of creatures.
to
So
make one
what's the
thing
problem with
clear,
this statement? Yeah.
yeah,
What's the problem with this
to,
statement?
make one thing clear, even Muslims are not guaranteed
Yeah.
paradise. It's possible
Yeah.
I might
Yes. Yeah.
myself
Yeah.
may Allah protect me
Yeah,
from that.
I'm
May
I'm
end up in
speaking
hellfire.
I'm speaking in generic terms. Okay, basically we're just saying that the believers are guaranteed paradise, will be given paradise, and the disbelievers will go to hellfire. But of course, this is on a case by case basis. It may not be necessarily so. Okay, let's say someone who doesn't know about Islam, he lives on an island for,
By the way,
I don't
he's
know.
talking about
Yeah.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala like criticizing disbelievers. He also criticizes Muslims. He criticizes
Yes.
Muslims. He even
Exactly.
criticizes the
Yes.
prophet. He criticizes the prophet.
Yes.
He also
Exactly.
criticizes hypocrites. Like he
Yes.
criticizes everybody in the
Yeah.
Quran.
So basically, he's the worst of creatures. He's just admitted himself. He is the worst of creatures. The Quran is right. Okay, Apis is
Yeah.
the worst of creatures. Okay. All right. So yeah. So anyway, there's this brother Shamil. I've seen him many times. Wa alaikum
Walaikum
salam
assalam,
wa
bro.
rahmatullah. There's also brother Sami Khan. I think he's coming from your channel. Walaikum salam warahmatullahi. I've never seen him before. Okay, right. Okay, so yeah. So okay, so let's continue, right? Yeah.
Which Islam is. Now, we talked about the recent incident with Salman Rushdie, where a religious Muslim tried to kill him and did not succeed. This is not something that happens across the religious globe. It is something that is unique to Islam. It is only Islam which constantly and repeatedly sends shockwaves throughout the world by taking lives and attacking people in public. For example, a very simple...
Attacking people in
This
public.
is special pleading. Where does it say that only Islam is the thing that does that? Like, have you ever heard of any kind of like Tamil or Indian terrorists? In India, they're literally lynching Muslims. They're literally lynching Muslims in India.
Yes, yes.
Then
yes.
in the Chinese, in China, Uyghur Muslims are being put in concentration camps. Like, they're all doing this for their own ideology, and you're saying that Islam is the only religion that. What are you talking about? These incidents have nothing to do with Islam in the first place. So basically, he's doing first of all, he's committing the questionable cause fallacy, which is obviously fallacious, and then he's committing the red herring fallacy. He's bringing up examples that has nothing to do with Islam. And now he's saying that, Islam is just violent, and ignoring his own ideology and other ideologies in the world, which does this exact same thing he accuses Islam of. And then he's trying to misrepresent Islam by cherry picking quotes. So this guy just committing fallacies after fallacies.
Yes.
So I don't know how people take this guy seriously.
The only reason why people are taking him seriously is because he claims to be an ex-Muslim who claims to have a very high knowledge of Islam. That's all. That is his only claim to fame. Okay, and then he's talking shit about Islam, and he's using certain arguments which Christians themselves use to attack Islam with. Okay, but the funny thing about it, the whole thing, is that I've never seen a Christian trying to preach Christianity to atheists. Don't you wonder why? I mean, I've never seen a Christian going to his comment and say, "Oh, atheists, you need to be saved. Come to Jesus. He will save you from your sins." No, nothing of the sort. In fact, I see Christians, in that particular video where he uploaded on his channel of our debate, and then in the comments below, there were Christians who were saying, "Oh, thank you, atheists, for having this debate, for showing this Muslim is wrong." I mean, the guy is a Christian. He's a Christian, and he's thanking an atheist for trying to disprove Islam. I mean, why is there no mention of Jesus coming to save you from your sins? No, nothing of the sort. The reason is simple, because they see atheists as a weapon to attack Islam. That's all. They don't care about atheists' salvation. If you Christians are truly sincere about spreading the truth of Christianity, and you really believe that Jesus will save you from your sins, why have no Christian ever went to atheists and tell him that, and tell atheists to come to Christ? No, I don't see anything of the sort. I only see Christians attacking Islam. So anyway, let's continue. All right. Okay.
Simple challenge. I know some people will come and say, but what about what happened in Spain in the 15th century? Well, here's a very simple challenge. Give me one example in today's time of somebody being attacked brutally with the intention to kill, or somebody being killed because they offended a different religion other than Islam, and Muslims throughout and those people throughout their religious group actually celebrated it. You cannot find a single example. In the case of Salman Rushdie, for example, Salman Rushdie was attacked with the intention of killing him, and this is justified and celebrated or excused by Muslims across the world. So if you want to pull up the public opinion on this.
Why does he assume that the killing of Salman Rushdie is celebrated?
I have a very interesting article that I want to show.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So there's this website. It's called Vedkabed. It's run by brother Sulaiman Rizvi. So he basically writes a lot of articles criticizing Hinduism. He actually made a article, and I want to share it. Is it okay?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. So basically, he collected all the hate comments by Hindu Bhakts against Muslims. Okay. So let's read some of them. And see if this is true, that Islam or Muslim are the only people that kind of like does this or whatever.
I wish I could have read this during the debate, but
this is a very long article. It brings a lot of examples.
Yeah, I didn't know what this article.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just find some of the tweets that he goes.
Maybe you can read some. Maybe you can read some of it.
Oh my God! Okay, Hindus literally calling for the massacre of Muslims. All right. So let's read some of these tweets. I am against violence. This is a Hindu saying this. I am against violence, but kabhi sochti hu Modi ji ne फिर से 2002 के नहीं क्या. But do you know what she's referring to? Is the Gujarat massacre. 2002 Gujarat massacre was a massacre that where a lot of Hindu mob went against
Oh
Muslims.
yes, I know about the Gujarat. I know. Yeah, I know
It was
about the
absolute
Gujarati
brutal
massacre.
massacre.
Yes.
They were
Yes, I
absolutely
know about that.
really horrifying details of stories.
Yeah.
If you just
Yeah.
search on the internet, you'll see this.
Yes.
Muslims were
Yes. Hundreds of
massacred in
Muslims.
masses.
Yes,
Yeah.
hundreds of Muslims were killed on the train. Yeah, in Gujarat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
So
that.
she's
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
saying, why doesn't Modi does the same thing again? And Modi was behind this, by the way.
Yeah, Modi
was
was the
behind this.
governor of that region, right?
Yeah.
He was the leader. He
Yeah.
was the governor of Gujarat, if I'm not mistaken, at the time. Yeah.
So this massacre happened under his watch. He riled the
Yeah.
people up.
Yes.
And she's
Yeah.
saying that why doesn't the same thing? Why doesn't Modi does the same thing again? This is a Hindu saying.
Yes, exactly. Yep. Yep.
Now,
Yeah.
this is
Hinduism.
something else. Then
Yep.
here,
Oh,
here you have a
interesting
comment.
stuff.
I think it says that,
This interesting stuff.
well said. So I think this is like Hindus in Bengal should be responded like they did in Gujarat, BJP. So another BJP like a minister, he said that Hindus in Bengal, which is in Bangladesh, by the way, Hindus in Bangladesh should respond just like they did in Gujarat. Again, referring to the Gujarat massacre, meaning in Bangladesh, they should do the same massacre that they did in Gujarat. Okay?
My God.
This is what they're saying. They're literally saying this. And then people are agreeing. Many Hindus are agreeing. By the way, I just want to clarify. I'm not saying that all Hindus are like this. These are obviously Bhaks. Bhaks are very specific type of kind of like fascist ideology, which they believe that they are kind of like Hindu race or whatever is superior.
Yeah.
And
I don't claim to know anything about Hinduism, nor do I care. Yeah, I don't care about Hinduism anyway.
So basically, these are the people that I'm talking about. But there's a lot of them. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this woman is saying, well said, sword for sword, fire for fire is the only answer to fight with the wicked katwas. Katwas, by the it's an insult for like Muslims, I think, because like we circumcise or something. So Twitter handles followed by Modi advocate violence against Muslims.
Yep.
So yeah, there's a lot of like comments like this. If you leak some of it, here it says
Aki, you don't even need to go. You don't even need to go this far. You can just go to any of Apost's videos. Just look at the ones which talk about Muslims, and then you go to the comments and you read the comments. Just read the comments. You have a handful of this. Yeah.
Yeah. So here, this is talking about Rohingyas who escaped from Myanmar, and here this is what they're saying: Yogi Modi, kill them once and for all.
My God. Yeah.
Don't get flooded in India and change its demography. We don't want Bengal and Kerala to be another Bangladesh. By the way, this isn't just the case of that, like they're insulting Muslims. They're also insulting like people of other nations, and they do this all the time. Like, does Apos never heard of like white nationalists? Does he ever heard of like Nazis in his own country? These people live in their own country, and these people openly advocate that black people should be removed from their country. And all these other kind of people should be removed from the country. Like, is he blind? Like, so basically, he's doing a special pleading fallacy. He's making a special case for Muslims or some other people who say that they're Muslims, and saying that these they're the only people that does this. No, clearly not.
Definitely not. Okay. So that's all I think.
There's a lot more comments where here this scumbag is saying they didn't want to respect the Myanmar. They didn't want to sing the national anthem. They did not want Buddhist temple to be built in the local. So he's basically justifying the genocide, the ethnic cleansing that is happening. They're okay with it. They're cheering it on.
Yes,
they're literally cheering it on. Then there's a video of Hindu extremists attacking a masjid or a mosque, and here in the comment it says, "Well done, Hindus. Well done. I'm in Canada." This is I think this is a white nationalist actually. This may not be a Hindu. I'm in Canada, and I will provide RPGs to fuck Islamato, the core, kill all Muslims from India.
Yeah, that's right.
How nice. How nice. So, and he says,
amazing.
Says,
amazing logic
this
there.
Doesn't exist.
Amazing.
Only Muslims.
Amazing logic there. All right. So, these Hindus, they have a very weird sense of logic, right? So anyway, there's this brother, he's from Malaysian. I need to greet him, right? So he said, Assalamualaikum Ustaz, sihat ke? Waalaikumsalam. Oh, saya bukan Ustaz ya. Saya bukan Ustaz ya. He's calling me Ustaz. Okay. So I'm not an Ustaz, sorry. I'm just your layman Muslim who happens to be, more knowledgeable than these idiotic Christians and Hindus, or even Apos himself.
By the
That's
way,
all.
I wonder, is Surah 2 like a Hindu? He's saying that Monjo is radicalizing Muslim Malaysians, naive Muslim. Are you radicalizing Muslims there?
Am I radicalizing Muslims? I don't know. Perhaps I am. I hope I radicalize them against you, okay, against idiots like you, okay. Yeah,
I think
would
she's a
love-
Hindu. I think she's a
yeah,
Hindu.
yeah. I don't know. It could be a Christian. I don't know. Okay, I really don't know. Okay, this is a common claim.
Okay,
that
okay, let's
Christians
just
make,
continue with
you
the
know.
video. I think we're.
Now, let me address this point, this particular verse, okay, because he says that Mary, the mother of Jesus, was the sister of Aaron and Moses in the Quran. Please show me a verse in the Quran where it explicitly says that Mary was the biological sister of Moses. You show me that, then I'll believe you. All right. Okay. That's all. Is
This
that
point
simple?
has
The
been
challenge is
refuted
really
so many times.
I
Just
think
search this.
that verse has been refuted so many times that I'm sick of it. I mean, I even have the article on my site. Okay, so
Yeah,
anyway, let's
let's
continue.
continue, inshallah.
Yeah. Okay.
This, you will see that Muslims justify it, refuse to condemn it, and most Muslims on social media will end up celebrating it. You cannot find an example of such a thing anywhere across religions. It simply does not exist. Yes, you may find some oppression that happened 500 years ago in Europe. You might find some other things that happened 2,000 years ago, human sacrifice, whatever it is. But we're talking about right now. Is Islam dangerous right now?
Yes, okay.
Sorry.
So he's saying that Muslims are celebrating it, or like they're not condemning it, or something along that line. First of all, why would Muslims need to say anything in this regard? Clearly, this guy is violating Islamic law. This is clear. You can ask any of the scholars. And of course, we condemn this guy. Like, we obviously condemn this because he's doing something that's against Islam.
Yeah, I mean,
And
the
also
guy is
on
doing
top of it,
something
he's
un-Islamic. Of course, we condemn him. We're condemning him. It has nothing whatsoever to do with Islam.
So,
it's just simple.
What point is he trying to make?
I don't know.
Let's continue.
I mean, are Muslim governments celebrating this, or are Muslim governments saying that this is sanctioned by Islam? No, I don't see any official statements by any Muslim government in the world. So, what is his point really? He doesn't have a point. Okay.
Islam is the only religion which causes these problems over and over and over again. Other religions simply don't. And as you can see,
we
Islam
just showed that
because Muslims just misunderstand their religion or something.
Pause.
No, I was just saying that we just showed that's false. All political philosophy, all religious people have extremists. And if you want to see that, go to ask any of the Rohingyas that escaped from the country, ask any of the Uyghurs that escaped from the country, or any of the survivors of the 2002 Gujarat massacre. Ask them. Ask them and they'll tell you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Somehow affected by circumstances that have nothing to do with their religion. No, Muslims directly take these motivations to kill and to harm from their religion, which dehumanizes the disbelievers and which commands to fight the disbelievers until they are humiliated, until they are subjugated. There are so many more examples that we can go into, such as that Muhammad asked his loyal followers to go and destroy temples. The Prophet temple, for example, Muhammad famously said, who will rid me of this temple? And then what his loyal minions went and destroyed it and killed whoever was there. Muhammad actually applauded that and said, may Allah bless you and your tribe. Muhammad had rough guys with him, like Umar, who threatened to kill a child.
Yeah.
So I think what he's referring to is like Diyal Khalsa or something. So there's like a temple called Diyal Khalsa or something, and the Prophet sent certain people there, and then the temple was destroyed, and all the like pagan temples were destroyed. Yeah, of course he did that. That's because God commanded him to do it. So because he won the battle, of course, like he's the leader, he can do that. Like,
yes, exactly.
What's the issue? Like, for example, isn't it the case that in America they're destroying like a lot of like statues of like founding father that they think are racist? Isn't that like happening? So why is that okay? Why is that okay?
Exactly. Yeah, why is that okay?
Like,
right? Yeah. So
I mean, in Africa, like they're like destroying a lot of temples. Even Gandhi, they supposedly want to destroy or remove the statue of Gandhi because they think that Gandhi was like a racist. So why is that okay? Like, the thing is that, of course, like the government that is in power gets to decide what type of things gets built. It's their right. And if they have a battle with another tribe and they won their battle, and then they, of course, then they have the right to destroy temples if they want to, because they have won the battle. That's what happens in war.
Yes. I mean, well, the victor, to the spoils goes the victor. Is it that simple, right? Even Jesus himself, if Jesus had won any wars against the pagans, against the people, the idolaters of his time, he would do the same thing.
You know what? If Isa Salam was here, he would be fighting with the Prophet.
Yes, exactly.
He fully supported him fighting with the
Prophet. If you read Revelations, the book of Revelations again, you will see that Jesus will come down as a just king and with a flaming sword and destroy all those who oppose him. This is in the Revelations. Okay, See,
Yeah.
so these
And
Christians, they're
also
being
another thing, doesn't the Bible, what does the Bible say about idolatry?
Yeah.
Didn't the Christian
Exactly.
destroy a bunch of like statues and idols that existed? So
Yep.
yeah, Christians did the same thing, and Muslims are doing the
Jews
same
did
thing.
Jews did the same thing.
Anything.
Christians do the same thing.
Yeah.
Muslims do the same
Hindus,
thing.
by the
So,
way, funny story. Hindus also did the same thing,
okay.
like against
They
like
did?
like for example in India. So
Okay.
for example, a temple would be seen as like this power symbol of the other king.
Okay.
So oftentimes what would
Okay.
happen is that they would go over there and destroy those temples, and and so this is normal. Even like if you look at Greek, like kind of like temples, they would do that. They would go and
Oh,
destroy that. I mean, if you look at what America did to Syria, look at the towns. Like
Okay.
this happens. This is normal. Like in warfare, buildings sometimes get destroyed.
Oh, okay.
But in general, when it comes to like warfare in Islam, when it comes to jihad, you're not
Yeah.
supposed to destroy like religious places. That's something that's not allowed. However, when it comes to like temples, there may be exceptions to that, and that maybe there's a reason why the Prophet made an exception here. But the general rule is you don't usually, when it comes to churches, you don't actually destroy churches, as far as I
No,
understand.
you're not allowed to. No, you cannot destroy churches. Yeah. So the temples, where the temples were concerned, the Prophet destroyed them because it was in a context of war. There was no treaty between the Prophet and the pagans Quraysh. So they were at war. So technically they're still at war. So I mean, if the Quraysh were, the pagan Quraysh were victorious over the Muslims, they would destroy the mosque. So the Muslims, once they conquered the pagan Quraysh lands, of course they're going to destroy the
can you
temples.
pause for a
Very
bit?
simple.
I have to something to take care of.
Okay, sure, no problem. So do you want me to continue the stream or wait for you? Okay, never mind. I think I'll continue the stream while waiting for the brother. All right. So yeah, so let me continue this. Right. Okay, maybe before I do that, I'm going to play some comments here. Okay, brothers, heading up. Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi. Okay, yes. Thank you for joining my stream. All right. Yeah. Thank you for joining my stream. Okay. Claire's here. Yeah, it's called iconoclasm. Yes, exactly. Yes, Claire. That's right. Yeah. Let me see some of the comments here. I think some of them have already refuted. JDT menang. Oh, I'm so sad that JDT won. Why did JDT have to win? I wanted Terengganu to win.
Who's
anyway,
JDT?
Yeah. No, JDT is the name of a club in Malaysia. Football club.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just So anyway, so let's continue.
Claire is here, by the way. She says that it's called
iconoclasm.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I shared it already. Yeah. Yes, I shared it. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, let's continue this, all right?
Yeah, let's just.
Yeah, okay.
Which Muhammad did not refuse by saying, no, we don't do that. He simply said, there's no reason to do it right now. So this is Islam. Islam is clear as day, dangerous. I'm an apostate. I have a death sentence. I'm supposed to die under the Muslim apologist's perfect worldview in his Islamic nation. So I don't know that if there's anything else more to say to this. Thank you.
You got to thank you very much for that opening statement. And folks, want to let you know, it's your first time here at Modern Day Debate. We are a live.
On that.
Yep.
So basically, he says that his whole point is Islam is dangerous because if there's a violation of treaty and you punish those traitors, that's dangerous. And if there's a I don't know, like a war, and you destroy buildings in war, that's dangerous.
Yeah.
And then he's saying
basically, brother, we can sum up like this.
I'm trying to understand his argument, right?
Yeah.
So and then he's saying that if there's a treaty between different tribes, and one of those tribes violate that treaty, then punishing their leader, or like their tribes people, then that's dangerous. Like, how are any of these things dangerous? These are normal political things. These are completely normal geopolitical things. None of this is dangerous.
Exactly. Yeah,
this is well accepted in the world of politics, especially in the world of geopolitics. I mean, if you look at for example, a lot of Muslim speakers get like banned from like universities because they're supposedly too extreme, and their country allows that. Like, for example, even in France, they cannot the French imams have to literally sign like a document, and they cannot say certain things. And so which part of this is dangerous? I don't understand. So you're saying that you guys are allowed to do this, but Muslims are not allowed to do this. So again, the point here is that everything he's talking about from like a moral point of view, none of these are things that he should have an issue with, because these
Yeah.
are normal things that exist in all political spectrums. He's only taking issue because it's the
No,
religion that he left. Yeah.
because it involves Islam. Because if other religions do this, it's absolutely fine. But if Islam does this, then it's wrong, evil, immoral, dangerous, whatever it is. Yeah.
So yeah, basically he's doing a special pleading fallacy. It's a logical fallacy where you make a special case for something without any
Yeah.
logical reasoning.
Yes. When I heard, when I was sitting there, I was listening throughout the person's opening statement. I just realized that I over prepared, because basically all I heard was Salman Rushdie, some random murders of people in Afghanistan, Nigeria, etc. The Prophet saying that he will make war against the disbelievers. The killing of Ka'ab bin al-Ashraf, and then Samuel Paty, and then Charlie Hebdo, and then just random things, and then the Jews hiding behind rocks during when the hour arrives. Basically a prophecy in the future. And I was telling myself, I think I over prepared, because if these are the things that he's going to talk about, then I don't even have to talk about what I did in my opening statement.
So all he did was like bring up.
Yeah.
So all he did is like
basically,
bring up irrelevant points, red herrings, non sequiturs. Like none of these things are related to Islamic teachings. These are
Nothing
things
at
that
all.
Islam talks about in terms of fiqh, in terms of jurisprudence, in terms of
Yeah.
legal matters, political matters, and of course political areas are extremely complex. So sometimes you will have rulings that on the surface level may not make sense, but if you understand about historical and political context, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
So-
Brother Elias summed it up very well. So basically, this Apostle's argument in a nutshell: Islam wants to destroy all bad and evil things in the world and promote goodness, this and that. That is why Islam is bad. I had to agree with that. I think that is basically his whole argument. Okay, that is why Islam is dangerous. Okay, so Islam, just because Islam goes against evil, that means does it mean that Islam is dangerous?
Paganism and
Yes,
and oppression.
Exactly.
Trying to protect religious freedom. By the way, a lot of the things that Prophet was doing was to protect religious freedom. I find it really funny that these people don't see that, because I think there's this idea in the West.
Oh yeah, let's not forget he talks about jizya a lot. Jizya, right? He makes it out as though jizya is something very evil, and when jizya is just a tax. Okay, I mean until today, everyone is paying income tax. Okay, so what's wrong with paying income tax to the state? Tell me what's wrong in that. Okay, so anyway, so basically the next part of this debate will be with my opening statement will be what I touch upon is actually about the maqasid, what we call the maqasid al-Sharia. Okay, so the objectives of the Sharia after its implementation. So that's why I said I over prepared, because if had I known that Apostle's argument was going to be about Samuel Paty, Salman Rushdie, blah blah blah, then I wouldn't even have the need to be talking about maqasid, because maqasid kinds of like it's quite academic and it covers a lot of things. So let's play this.
Debate channel, neutral, hosting debates on science, religion, and politics.
Yeah, sorry.
You know what? If he was like a competitive debater, he would actually bring up points that Islam promotes that goes against the liberal interest. Like things like sodomy, right? For example, Islam does say that sodomy is not allowed. He could have said that well, if Islam is not allowed, that it could be like a danger for us and whatever, right?
Exactly.
So he could argue for that point, and we could say actually sodomy is dangerous, so it wouldn't be any better. But at least he would have made a point.
Yes.
At least it wouldn't be some kind of red herring that has nothing to do with Islam, or talking about Samuel Paty or all these other incidents, or talking about historical context and fighting between different nations and tribes, which is completely normal in the context of warfare.
Exactly.
So at least that point would have made sense, because that would be like some kind of current issue. But he's just talking about nonsense. This guy's an idiot.
He's just picking up things from what happened currently, and then he just cherry picking from what happened in the past, and then he's combining it all, and then he's associating them all together when they happen according to specific contexts and cultural differences. Okay. So, I mean, the guy is just an Islamophobe. I mean, I mentioned this clearly, right, many times.
Yeah, let's continue.
Okay, let's play my opening statement, right?
So we don't take any stances ourselves as a channel. We hope you feel welcome no matter what walk of life you are from, Christian, atheist, Muslim, you name it. We're glad you're here. And with that, we're going to kick it over to Muslim Apologist for his opening statement as well.
Yeah.
Thanks for being with us, Muslim Apologist. The floor is all yours.
Rapidly changing e-commerce trends can
Sorry.
leave your business
Yeah,
in a lurch.
there's an advertisement. Wait, hang on. Let me skip this. Okay.
All right.
By
Thank you,
the way,
James, for
those-
that thing. So, by the way, just to be clear, how many minutes do I have?
All right. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
continue,
What do you want
continue.
to say? All right.
Continue.
Okay.
You have 12 minutes, and I forgot to mention, I did want to mention, thanks for tuning in with us, as it's somewhat early in the morning there, as Muslim Apologist is actually in Malaysia tuning in, so we appreciate you making that work with your morning schedule. And like I said, 12 minutes, the clock is set for your opening. Muslim Apologist.
All right. Thank you, James. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I begin.
Do you notice something? I didn't say Assalamualaikum. I said Assalamu ala manit taba'al huda. There's a difference. Okay.
This opening statement with all absolute praise be due to the one true God of Abraham and his last messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Amma ba'd. So the topic today is Islam dangerous to the world? We must first understand what the word dangerous entails. The police shooting a criminal who is about to kill women and children is a dangerous act. This, however, does not mean that it is bad or immoral. Violence and dangerous actions can be used to establish the greater good with a wise purpose or hikmah. To also imply that 1.6 billion people around the world are dangerous or have the tendency to be dangerous is a gross misrepresentation of the faith, redundant, and is clearly Islamophobia. We must
You see, with this particular paragraph that I said here, I pretty much refuted most of his opening, right? Do you realize that I actually refuted most of his opening by saying that? Yeah. Brother, you still there?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I think like basically he's saying that all these like irrelevant points, and that is like Islamophobic. There's no.
I mean, I clearly refuted him in the opening statement. Okay, so by the way, I'm going to continue playing. So if there's
Sure.
any part of the opening statement which you want me to pause, you let me know, right?
Sure.
Okay, all right. So I'll continue.
also be clear that the goal of Islam is to lead all of mankind towards Islamic peace or Pax Islamica. Muslims are taught to always adhere to the middle path or wasatiyah. This is characterized neither by liberal nor radical religious thought, but through the promotion of tolerance, balance, equality, consensus, reformism, and in short, the summum bonum of all things that take the middle path to materialize as the khairul ummah or the best of people. In order for these things to be achieved, it is recognized that the Islamic ethos or the Watan Sha'um, the primary objective of the implementation of Islam is the realization of its benefit or maslahah to mankind, which concerns their affairs both in this world and in the hereafter. So this framework of objectives, which are based on benefit, maslahah, or the wise purpose, hikmah, is known as the maqasid ash-shari'ah, or the objectives of Islamic law after its implementation.
By the way,
In
can you
French, it's known
pause?
as finalité in German.
Yep.
Okay, so I like the fact
So
that you actually mentioned the purpose of Sharia, right? Because this
Yeah,
is
maslahah,
important
yeah.
because APOS basically is trying to get at all the kind of like all these rulings. But if you
Yeah.
understand what the actual purpose of those rulings are, you cannot say these are dangerous because it's for the greater
Exactly.
good, right?
Exactly.
It's to protect family,
Yes.
it's to protect your faith, it's to
Exactly.
protect your
Exactly.
all this other thing. And here, just by saying that, you refuted his whole nonsense, his
The
whole
whole
argument.
thing, I with just one paragraph, I just refuted every single thing he said earlier.
Yeah, and that's the point. Like you have to look at the purpose of these laws. Like, what is the purpose exactly? Because if it is
Exactly.
the case that the purpose is to serve a greater good, then
Yeah.
that's completely justified. Then none of this is
Yes.
dangerous. If it serves for the
Exactly.
greater good, if it leads more people to the paradise, if it leaves more people to live a more fulfilling and happy life, if it protects family, if it protects faith, and all
Exactly.
this other kind of stuff,
Exactly.
or if it even protects economy, right?
Yeah.
So if it does all of these things, then you cannot say Islam is dangerous. You have to say Islam is actually beneficial.
Yep. Definitely.
So
Definitely.
yeah, so you can bring up all the stupid points about all these stupid points about like how Islam is dangerous because it has these laws, that I feel bad about. It doesn't matter because those laws are there for a purpose, and the greater purpose is much more important than those smaller things, right?
Yep.
And this is how Islam is actually promoting peace, because it's promoting things that is more important than some trivial punishment for these laws.
Yep, definitely. So yeah. So shall we continue?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So in Greek, telos. So the fulfillment of Islamic law covers the protection and preservation of these 5 fundamental objectives, which are faith, life, intellect, lineage, and wealth.
See, I even gave the 5 points of Makosi Ashaya, and he never touched on any of them. Okay.
These values are universally transcendent and are seen as absolute requirements to an individual's survival and spiritual well-being, to the extent that the destruction or collapse
that's the
of any
thing.
of these
Can you pause
objectives
it?
would precipitate chaos
Okay.
and the demise of the standard order.
Yes, yeah, sure.
That's the thing. Everyone values these things, like everybody.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter whether a Muslim, whether it's a Muslim, a non-Muslim.
Yes.
Everyone values these things. And if
Everyone
everyone values these things and Islam establishes these things, then you cannot say Islam is dangerous. You have to say Islam is beneficial.
Exactly. That's my whole point. That's my whole point. But Apos never addressed this. He never addressed this fundamental point that I made. He just talked about Samuel Patti, Salman Rushdie, blah 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 blah. This that. That's all he has. You see?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In society. Now about faith, the first objective. Islam values the maintenance of faith in God and the societal way of life based on this principle. Okay. To achieve this, Islam ensures that any threat to this value is nullified before it poses a danger to the Muslim community as a whole. This would include freedom of religion, a safe and secure environment which would allow Muslims to practice their faith without any threat, getting rid of Islamophobia, as it is currently rampant in Western nations.
Yeah, I know. I purposely said that.
And all these things are done while ensuring that other religions are also allowed to practice their respective faiths in peace and harmony in a Muslim-dominated society. And as any other self-respecting nation would do, Islam also takes preemptive steps as a countermeasure to ensure that this way of life is not undermined. This legislation is no different from how the United States, for example, treated Edward Snowden, Joseph Ahmed, Jonathan Pollard, Julian Assange, when they pose a threat to the integrity of the government. In light of achieving the greater good in this context, how then is Islam a danger to the world? Now the next objective, life. Islam values the protection and value of human life. Islam ensures that peace prevails throughout the world via any
just to
means
note,
that can keep this aid.
Can you pause it? Just to note, and the reason I say that you won the debate is because he never responded to this point. Never once responded to the point.
No, he never talked about it. Yeah, I mean, he just glossed over.
This is how I saw a lot of like Muslims saying that, not Muslims, a lot of comments saying that, oh, MENJ lost. Like, did you guys watch like the same debate? Like clearly, like he didn't even bother to respond to the main argument.
Yeah, he didn't
even respond to the main argument.
Talk about it because he didn't know. He has no clue what the argument really is about. You see, he was so obsessed with his own arguments that he never talked about it. Talk about my arguments. See.
Yeah.
Islam is most certainly not a danger to the world if it values human life, because according to the words of the Quran itself, to kill one human is as though you have killed all of mankind. The purpose of justice in Islam, which includes the hard laws, is to ensure that crime is controlled and that the person involved can be reformed, or otherwise be taken out of society so that he or she will no longer be a threat to anyone else. Criminologist Edwin Sutherland published the Principles of Criminology in 1939. Sutherland argued that the criminal behavior was learned, not an inherited trait. So exposure to crime, either through relatives or peers, gave a youth frustrated with his or her social status a choice to pursue crime. These bad influences could be lessened by good relationships with parents, teachers, an employer, or the community, values which Islam promotes. How then does this prove that Islam is a danger to the world?
For each makosid that I espouse or that I explain about, I always added to that the question: how then does this show that Islam is a danger to the world? I ask this rhetorically, and he never responded to any of it. So
now the next objective, intellect. Islam cherishes and preserves the intellect, which is why throughout Islamic history, we see various advancements and achievements in the development of science and technology in the Muslim world, right up until the beginnings of Western colonialism and the fall of the Caliphate. At the same time, Islam also preserves and protects the intellect by forbidding alcoholism. On average, roughly 40% of inmates who are incarcerated for violent offenses were under the influence of alcohol during the time of the crime. True, alcohol may give people happiness, but that happiness is temporary. Not only does it lead to criminal activities, but it also leads to other vices which ipso facto jeopardize or badly affect the other values that I've mentioned earlier. So tell me again how Islam is a danger to the world. Now the next objective, lineage. Marriage is deeply rooted in natural human instincts. We crave romantic affection. This is a natural human inclination. So sociologists call this pair bond.
Can you pause? Okay.
Yep,
so this part is actually very, very important. And I kind of wish you put more emphasis on this part, because one of the main things that many like evolutionists or scientists, they emphasize is that, the reason, or one of the main reasons that we as a species have survived so long is because we are good at protecting our lineage. Okay, if you cannot protect our lineage, we're going to go extinct. And what is happening around the world? You see population decline. especially when it comes to modern nations. If you look at Japan, recently Elon Musk tweeted out that if Japanese people do not start having like babies, they're gonna go extinct by a certain amount of time, and that's exactly what's happening. Even though Japan was a very economically stable country, it has been falling ever since then because they're losing population. And it's a really bad situation, actually, both in Korea and in Japan. And it happened because of secularism. It's happened because of modernism. People don't have children.
Yes.
And this is a clear danger in the world. This is more dangerous than anything Apos mentioned, which is that the idea that we might actually go extinct because of his ideas. Islam can prevent that. So, like, I think it's a very good argument. And again, he never touched on this.
Thank you. No, he never. He doesn't want to, or he knows it because he's too much concerned about apostasy. Okay, so he doesn't see the bigger picture. That's his problem. See. Okay.
And studies have proven that couples who are married are happier than unmarried couples. Islam advocates the family unit and ensures that the lineage of mankind continues throughout the centuries. Towards this end, Islam ensures that the laws are in place to curb negative values that are a threat to the integrity of a family unit. And I'm not just referring to the Rainbow Club. Marriage requires sacrifices on both sides. Liberals are not interested in sacrificing their individual freedom. In the West, the concept of marriage is dying. People are barely getting married, and according to Pew Research, 70% of people will not choose to get married. Now, you contrast this with Islamic law, which preserves marriage and family. Islam does recognize individual freedom and other values.
By the way, it's not just that they it's not just that they don't want they're not like getting married. It's also the case they don't want to have children, which is why you have things like abortion. So basically, they have like an entire system which basically destroys like human family, destroys the family unit, destroys like the lineage, destroys faith. So they have all of this, and clearly this is leading to a very dangerous path because we're losing population, we're losing integrity between different people. People are becoming more, more aggressive because of things like alcohol and all these kind of things, and Islam prevents that.
Yes, definitely.
And he says that Islam is the thing that's dangerous, but all the thing that's allowing all this, that's fine.
Yeah. Anything that allows for the destruction of the human race is okay, as long as it does. But Islam promoting the family is wrong. It's dangerous. Okay. So let me continue playing. All right.
Yeah, sure.
Important values for society and family to function. So again, how does this make Islam a danger to the world? The last objective, wealth. Islam encourages the preservation and maintenance of wealth. Islam does not frown upon capitalism.
About wealth, he never touched about it, not even a single point about wealth. He just talks about something else.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the banking system, it has clearly destroyed entire nations. I mean, if you look at the amount of debt has increased.
I mean, you don't have to look very far. You can just look at
houses anymore.
You can just look at Sri Lanka. This is a good example, right?
Like for example, people cannot buy houses anymore because the price keeps increasing because banks keep giving loans and people cannot pay those loans. A lot of people are losing their houses on mortgages.
Yes,
and
that's right.
And there are studies that shows that increases amount of debt leads to depression. And if you look at Islam, it highly discourages debt or taking debt or taking interest.
Exactly.
And an interest-based system has done a lot of damage in our world. Also, it's completely unfair and unjust because you're basically taking, you're basically getting paid for doing absolutely nothing. Simply because you've waited for your own money. That's it. That's why you're getting paid.
Right.
That doesn't make sense. So he's okay with that. He's okay with this type of unethical system that takes advantage of people. And he's saying that that's fine, but Islam is dangerous because it doesn't allow people. Like, what are you saying?
Definitely. Exactly. That's the thing. Yeah. So let me play.
At the same time, Islam also encourages elements of socialism and welfare in the form of Islamic fiqh of zakat and sadaqah of charity. Islam also implements taxations which are just and fair to run an administration of a state. Islam also recognizes that being poor and needy leads to instability and chaos in society and tries to remove this by banning gambling and interest. This is consistent with what has been attested to by Western criminologists today, that a general disorder in the neighborhood leads to increased antisocial behavior and eventually to serious crime. So Islam does this without the need to rely upon secularist, humanistic values which are contrary to the Islamic economic and finance system. The implementation of an Islamic economic system has ensured success for Muslim nations even until today. We have Islamic bonds or sukuk and the Islamic banking system which have existed in Malaysia and in many parts of the Muslim world for over 30 years. So again, how does this support the position that Islam is a danger to the world? Now to summarize all this, Islam is basically a realistic and a religion of pragmatism. It does not see the world purely from dystopian or utopian lenses, because the real world that we live in is neither this nor that, but it could be both in various situations. So in light of this, Islam does use force, wherever and whenever is necessary, in order to achieve a wise purpose or hikmah behind every action and in the context of events. Now, it cannot be stressed enough that context is important in order to evaluate the every action of any Islamic ruling or values as recorded in the hadith or in Islamic history.
You see, with this statement, historical context is important in order to evaluate Islamic laws and history. With that statement I made, he refutes all his points about the hadith regarding the Prophet waging war against others and all that. I actually refuted his opening statement without realizing. Okay. Yeah.
Muslims are always taught to always strive for the middle path and are never taught to be extremists on either the left or the right of the political spectrum of things. Islam is a holistic way of life, which is the end result from the values derived from maqasid, as I've mentioned before. And this is one of the goals of Islam as well, to build a relationship between man and God, hablum minallah, and a relationship between man and man, hablum minan-nas, in order to eventually move towards to and achieve best Islamicah. So I cherish these values. That
by the way,
promote.
can I?
Therefore, in conclusion,
sure, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
But were you sitting on the Iron Man chair that you have?
No. I didn't have the Iron Man chair at the time. Just for those who do not know, For those who do not know, I have this new chair now. Okay, I just bought this. I bought this like last week, and this debate took place like 3 weeks ago. Okay, so I didn't have the chair at the time. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have the chair.
Okay. Let's continue.
Okay, let's continue. Right? Okay.
And in my opinion, Islam is a danger to the world only if you are a degenerate, a career criminal, a selfish or a lawless person without care for society, or very, very mentally disturbed individual. And with that, I end my.
I was actually referring to him. Okay.
Thank you, James, for participating.
Thank you very much for that opening statement. And want to let you know, folks, we have a juicy debate.
All right. Okay, that's all. I think maybe we should just discuss the opening statements for today. If you want to continue for the others, you can do it next time. What do you think? It's 2 hours.
How long is the rest of the debate?
I think it's about it'll take about at least another 30 minutes. Yeah, another 30 minutes before it goes to the Q&A. Yeah, it will be very long. Yeah. See that?
It's been 2 hours. Can we do like another hour maybe?
Another hour?
Finish the
you sure you want to do another
debate.
hour? Are you sure you want to do another hour?
Let's take a look at some of the back and forth. We can maybe skip ahead if you want.
Okay. All right.
But let's at least finish the debate. And
until the Q&A.
Because I don't think I can come back to this topic because we gotta deal with other stuff. So let's just finish this and then inshallah we'll.
All right. Okay. Let's do that then. All right. Okay. Sure.
That has been rescheduled. It didn't happen last weekend, but it is happening tomorrow. It is a tag.
I'll tell you what. Maybe we can just do it until the rebuttals, and then the crossfire. We don't have to do that. Yeah, because there's a rebuttal for each section, and then that's it. How about that?
Okay. Let's see. And then maybe we can skip ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Team Flat Earth debate. It's going to be a great one, and we have many more debates in addition to that one coming out. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already so that you don't miss any future debates that do come out here at Modern Day Debate. With that, thank you very much, gentlemen. We're going to kick it into the rebuttal section. In particular, the rebuttals are 6 minutes long. And Apostate Prophet, the floor is all yours for your rebuttal. Thanks very much for being with us.
So all I heard was Islam is not dangerous because dangerous is defined differently according to Islam. Yes, Islam applies force and discriminates and oppresses people, but it's for the greater good. It's for your own good. It's like when
that wasn't my argument at all. I mean, he just misrepresented what I said, right? Yeah.
When
the point is that there are certain values that everyone shares, and those values are being undermined, and Islam can protect that. And if Islam can't protect that, then how is that dangerous?
Exactly.
And if in order to protect that, you have to do certain things that you personally don't like, that doesn't mean anything.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Is severely abusive, but says, hey, don't complain. This is for your own good. That's basically what Islam does. Islam oppresses. As the Muslim apologist just pointed out, Islam suppresses people who are Islamophobic, meaning they just don't like Islam or they criticize Islam. It executes apostates, executes people who do all kinds of things, but that is not dangerous at all. That's just for your own good, because Islam knows best what's good for you. You don't know. You are an idiot.
Can you pause this?
Oops.
What is it?
I think, it's just it's an advert. Yeah. So what you were saying? Yeah.
Yeah. So basically,
Yeah,
he's
go
saying
ahead.
that
Go
you
ahead.
cannot punish criminals. You cannot punish criminals. If someone commits a crime in a state, you have to allow that.
Yes. Basically,
Like
basically, if someone wants
how
to
does
rape,
this
yeah. Basically, if
how
someone
does
wants to
this
rape,
logic make any
murder,
sense?
kill, it's all fine. Yeah, I mean, the guy is just a lawless bastard. Okay,
Like
pardon my French.
like if
No,
he wants to argue that these laws are dangerous because what it
Yeah.
leads to or something, at least I would have tried to I would have understood. But like he's saying that someone simply disobeying a country or committing a crime is okay. Like why?
Why? Right? Yeah, why? I wanted to say something along those lines, but I had only 6 minutes, so I couldn't squeeze that in. So, but basically, he's saying that rapists, murderers, thieves, robbers, they should all be let go, because that is, if you imprison them, if you jail them, if you punish them, that goes against their freedom of expression. Basically, that's basically his argument. Okay.
No,
Sorry,
but
that's
basically
silly.
he's saying I think what he's trying to say is that he's trying to promote the utilitarian position, which is, but he's not really doing that.
No,
He's
not,
not
he
even
doesn't seem to
arguing
be
for like a
indicating that at all.
utilitarian position.
Yeah.
I mean, from an atheist point of
exactly.
view, none of these things are objectionable. So what is he
Yes,
saying? What is his
exactly.
objection here exactly? What's the logical reason why these things are bad?
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's just because Islam is involved. That's why it's bad for him. It's that simple. It's that simple.
Let's continue, shall we?
Yeah. Okay, hang on.
Which is one thing that I had to catch. He says that Islam doesn't encourage extremism. Islam is extremism. And by our standards, everybody will look at Islam as extremism. But what's funny is actually that this is not a line that he just made up. This is something that Muhammad said. He said, he talked about, don't be extreme, be moderate. And this is common among Muslims of all kinds to say, we are moderate, we are not
can you
extreme.
pause?
And what's funny is...
Can you pause?
So what's his point really?
Yeah, no. So he's saying that Islam is extremist. Define extremism. Like, what do you mean by extremism? Are you saying
exactly.
that letting our entire human race be extinct is not dangerous, or is that extreme to try and stop that? Is it extreme to believe in God? Like why is that extreme? Like what is he talking about?
Okay, doesn't make any sense to me. Okay. Anyway, let's continue. All right.
Let's continue.
Yeah.
The reformists, the most peaceful Muslims, say the same thing, and Al-Qaeda, Taliban, ISIS also say the same thing. I'm not joking. ISIS actually says in their publications that we should abstain from being extremists, and that ISIS is the most moderate path. So when he says that doesn't mean anything because it's completely relative. I would really like MENJ to comment on the Salman Rushdie issue, for example. What does he think? Does he think it is wrong to kill people or to attack or harm people who have?
By the way, did you
Islam?
notice?
Does he think that
he completely ignored all your arguments.
Yep, he totally bypassed everything, and he just focused on his. You see, I mean, because you see, I've already mentioned in my opening statement that Islam enforces certain rules in order to achieve the greater good, right? The maqasid, right? And he didn't refute any of the points that I made about maqasid. If he wanted to make this an effective debate or to go against my points, he should at least address the maqasid that I mentioned, the 5 maqasids that I mentioned, and show how protecting all this is dangerous or not dangerous, or whatever he wants to his position is. Basically, he needs to refute my position that these 5 points of maqasid.
So basically, he's using a type of circular reasoning. So in case you guys don't know, circular reasoning is a type of logical fallacy where you basically argue in a circle where your conclusion is basically premise, meaning that you have a kind of like unjustified kind of situation. For example, if I say that soda has sugar in it, because if it didn't, then it wouldn't be called soda. So basically, you didn't actually justify anything. You're just stating what you believe. Right?
Exactly.
Like for example, it's like me saying the sky is blue, because if it wasn't blue, we wouldn't have called it the sky. Right? It doesn't really. There's no logical reasoning there. It doesn't follow from anything. You just stating what you believe.
It's meaningless. Yeah, it's meaningless.
And he's doing the exact same thing. He's saying that liberalism is true and it's the correct moral position, or whatever the hell he's trying to say. But he doesn't even
I don't think he's a liberal either.
clarify what his moral position is, because is he a moral realist or is he a moral subjectivist? If he's a moral subjectivist, he cannot have any issues with any of the moral position regarding Islam. If he's a moral realist, then what's his justification for that? And
Exactly.
again, he never
Exactly.
provided any justification for any of this. And he's saying that,
No.
oh, because these things sound bad to me, therefore it's bad. But that's circle. You have to give some kind of logical reason as to why you think these things are morally bad. After you have demonstrated that your moral position is the superior one. He didn't do any of that.
Yep. No, he just
And he definitely
basically
didn't
just
respond to your
bypassed the
argument. And he
No,
definitely
he did
didn't
not.
respond to your argument.
Definitely did not. He definitely did not. Anyway, let's continue playing this. Right.
Yeah. So.
Personal condemnation. Would he, for example, do the honor of condemning this recent incident? I'm really curious about that, because I can show a bunch of screenshots where most of his fellow believers are quite happy about what happened. He basically says Islam provides freedom of religion, and thereby only means freedom of religion for Islam, because all the others will be suppressed. He's basically telling me
That was not what I argued about. I mean, the guy totally misrepresented me at my point. Okay, yeah.
Here that I shouldn't be complaining, because Islam provides freedom of religion, and if I am against Islam, then I endanger Islam, and it's okay for me to be killed as an apostate. But I shouldn't be complaining about this. Complaining about that would be Islamophobic. Can you believe this?
I didn't say complaining about that is Islamophobic. I'm saying
he's
that
making
you
shit
complain
up.
about the
He's making things up.
I mean, the guy is just attacking strawman, like you said, strawman. It's just strawman.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's continue.
Of course, the cult-like presentation of stuff that nobody understood at the beginning of his speech did not help at all. What else is there? He said
the stuff that he said he's insulting again. He's saying that the stuff that I said at the beginning of speech does not help at all. I mean, if you don't understand the argument, then you might as well just shut up. You don't understand the argument at all. You're not addressing the argument. Right? That doesn't make my argument false. You see. You see. Yeah.
He talked about the common benefits, the greater good of humanity, thereby pointed out that Islam cares very much about preserving faith. He did not really explain why, though, which is very interesting. I can make the same case for any value without explaining why exactly we need that value. He said that Islam values life, and said that Islam actually...
Can you pause that?
Yeah, sure.
What did he say? Can you go back? I just want to respond.
Let me reverse that. I kind of missed that too.
He did not really explain why, though, which is very interesting. I can make the same case for any value without explaining why exactly we need that value. He said that Islam values life, and said that Islam...
Can you pause it?
Yeah.
So basically he's saying that, what is he saying? He's saying that he doesn't need to explain value because... So basically, the point you brought up about faith. I think you mentioned that, religious people are happier than non-religious people, right?
Yes, I did.
Was that?
I did mention that. Yeah, I think I mentioned that. Yeah.
So in case you guys don't know, religious people tend to be happier than non-religious people. And I mentioned that multiple times. There's a Pew study that shows this. There is even another study that was done on Muslims, that religious Muslims are happier than non-religious Muslims. So if you're a utilitarian, then you shouldn't have any issue with this. You should actually promote this.
Exactly.
You should want religious freedom and people to be more religious, okay? Because it leads to happiness. So yeah, that's why it's important. And so you're saying that it's not important for people to be happy?
No, I think he's also saying along the lines of these 5 values that I mentioned, they are not important to him because all other religions promote these values as well. But if that's the case, then what's the problem with Islam, right? If you think, I mean,
if all other Islam is not dangerous, he basically would concede the debate. Could admit Islam is not dangerous.
Basically, implicitly, he considered the debate because he says that you can find these values in other belief systems as well. So what's the problem here?
then the debate is conceded.
And the guy didn't realize that he considered the debate. You see?
He says, whoever takes a life, it is as if he had killed all mankind. The actual quote is in Quran chapter 5, verse 32, and says, this is what we said to the children of Israel, which, by the way, is wrong. The Quran just plagiarizes something from the Talmud.
This is nonsense, of course. I mean, even if it's found in the Talmud, it doesn't mean that the Quran plagiarizes it. So it's also irrelevant to the debate point anyway. So
also, this is a false cause fallacy. So basically, he's saying that because there's a similarity, that means that one thing caused the other. Like, for example, if the fact that Apos looks like some kind of an animal that I won't name doesn't mean Apos comes from that animal, okay? So it's a really bad logic there.
And also, don't you realize that, he says that the Quran plagiarizes that particular verse about, if you kill one man, it's as though you kill the whole of humanity. Right? He says that that the Quran, he allegedly says that the Quran copies it, right? So is he saying that since the Quran took a value let's assume that he's right, right? If the Quran really took this value from the Talmud, doesn't mean that the Talmud also shares the same value as the Quran. Therefore, if you're saying that Islam is dangerous, therefore doesn't that mean that the Talmud is also dangerous? Do you understand where I'm getting at? So it means that both the Talmud and the Quran shares the same values. Does he? Because he's trying to, all this while, if you look at from the beginning, he's always trying to single out Islam.
You could have actually brought this point up, which is that a lot of values that Islam has are similar to a lot of other religions, like for example, belief in God, protecting the family.
I wanted to say that, but
we have similarities with these other religions as well. So is he condemning these other religions as bad and evil? Like for example, the point about blasphemy law, Christianity has blasphemy law. So do you say that
I mentioned that? I did
dangerous?
mention that.
So,
I mentioned that.
So the point becomes kind of like stupid. I mean, if this is the case, that every other system in the world has these moral laws and moral values, and you're the only one who's saying that these things are bad, is the case that they're wrong, or is the case that you're wrong?
It's
more likely, you're wrong.
Exactly. This is what I pointed out. I did mention Deuteronomy 13, and I also mentioned Numbers 31. So
let's continue.
Anyway, let's continue this.
It says in the following verse after that those who wage war against Allah and His Messenger and spread corruption in the land, that they should be crucified, their hands and feet cut off from opposite sides, killed, or
what does that mean, though?
This is how Islam is supposed to deal with
what does that mean?
people.
So basically, he's saying that. He's saying that. So basically, he's saying that if they violate laws of Allah's laws. So what are those laws? Those laws are that you shouldn't kill people illegitimately. You shouldn't oppress people. You shouldn't like for example, if you refuse to give charity and hoard money for yourself, or if you don't obey your leaders, right? And all these other kind of things. These are like nasty things. These are bad things. So if Islam says that if people who does these things and oppress other people, because one of the conditions for jihad is that when a country is oppressing their own people, right? So in order to lift oppression, sometimes it is necessary. So is he saying that trying to lift oppression is a bad thing, and or trying to basically he's describing a situation where Islam is clearly talking about people who are immoral or people who violate the laws, such as any type of crime that you can think of, like for example, crimes such as robbery, or crimes like any type of illegal kind of people stealing other people's stuff. So any kind of crime and bad things, that's what Islam is describing, and he's saying that it's fine. He's saying that Islam is wrong for trying to punish criminals. So that's just funny to me. So Apos doesn't seem to think that punishing criminal is a bad thing. So I guess we shouldn't punish criminals then.
We should just give them flowers and chocolates for doing the crime. I mean, what he's expecting criminals to get a pat on the back for doing all those crimes. I mean, the guy is just, I don't know, he's just an idiot. I mean, it doesn't make any sense sometimes. Okay. Anyway, let's continue.
Who hurt Islam, but of course he can say, well, that's not bad because that's necessary, for the greater good. But still, Islam is totally against violence and totally values life. Well, you also value fighting disbelievers and correcting them, and then still say, but Islam values life. That's not really how it works. He spoke of intellect, which I find very funny. I don't even know what to say about it.
Can you pause this? So if you notice, he's just rambling. He's not giving any logical reason why that's a problem.
No.
For example, you have to actually, in a debate, you're supposed to make arguments for your case. He's just saying whatever he's coming to his mind. It's he's saying that it's for the greater good. That's completely sound. That's a sound argument. It is for the greater good. So why is that a bad thing? Why do you dislike that? Why do you dislike greater good? Like for example, if imagine there's a sickness that is spreading among people, and you have a cure. But in order to cure that, the person that you'll be curing will be sick for a few days. Of course, based on the fact that that person will be sick, you cannot decide and say that this whole thing is bad, because again, it is for the greater good. So what's wrong with this logic?
Exactly.
I don't understand. He has no objection. He has no logical objection to this.
No.
He's just ranting.
if you notice, all his objections are all based on emotionalism and appeal to emotion. So
Yeah.
if it causes a bad effect, therefore it's bad. That's it. I mean, if the result is if the objective of that particular law will leads to something bad in the beginning, like for example cutting off the hands because he steals or whatever, because of the cutting of the hand is therefore it's bad, you see. But he doesn't see the reason why the thief has to be cut off his hands in
Yeah,
the first
because
place.
if someone knows that if I steal and I get caught, my hand I'm gonna lose my hand. Do you think that person would think twice about stealing something?
Exactly.
No.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And this is why, if you look at Muslim countries with that has Sharia law intact, like especially the Gulf countries, have the lowest amount of crime.
Yeah.
They have the lowest amount of crime.
Yep.
So
Definitely. So I mean, he just looks at the effect. He doesn't see the reasoning and the justification for it.
Yeah. Let's continue.
That's his problem. Okay. Yeah. So okay.
Talk about the lineage, which
also, what is this laugh? What is this laugh?
Yeah, I chided him I actually chided him many times during debate. I said, Demir, what's with your fake laugh? He's it annoys me the hell out of me during the debate. I mean, I was speaking during the debate. I was explaining something, and he was just. I mean, it sounds like that animal.
By the way, I pull up this comment.
Nizal,
Nizal, Nick Muhammad.
I just wanted. Let me continue something first. Okay, so basically, I wanted to say something, but you cut me off. Okay, but anyway, So, so basically, he should have the decency to at least mute himself before making all that personal reactions. So okay, let me share. Which one do you want me to share just now?
The last one, Nizal Nick Muhammad, I think.
The last one, this one, is it?
I think the brother says, to a modern mind, used to punishments being in the form of getting jailed, caned, or death by various clean methods, the cutting of hand or feet does sound shocking. Yeah, just because something is shocking doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah,
like for example, it is shocking to me that the fact that many people oftentimes starve to death, but for example, it's shocking to me that oftentimes governments restrict the freedom of people because of things like COVID or the other type of things. But of course, just because it's shocking to me doesn't mean it's bad. Same way, just because it's shocking that these people are being punished heavily doesn't mean it's bad, because there has to be punishment in society. Otherwise, crime will just spread randomly.
Exactly. Yeah. So. Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, let's continue. All right. Yeah.
That Islam values marriage and coming together, and in the West, people do not marry. What's funny is if you actually look at the divorce rates, you will find that Muslim countries are very high in terms of numbers of divorce per marriage.
He made a claim, but he didn't substantiate it. Where are the facts and figures for this? What is his source?
No. I think what he's talking. This is a point that a lot of actually, I know. I think I had a study here.
Do you know where he got his source from? Yeah. Oops. Hello. Oh, you disappeared. Oops. Hello. Are you there? You cut yourself off. Oops. Where's the brother? Let's wait for a while. I wait for him to appear. Okay. Oops. Okay, I'm waiting for Brother Islamic Calling to come back to the stream. So in the meantime, let me see if I can read any of the comments here. Apostate execution is in the Bible too, but yep, exactly. So it's in Deuteronomy 13. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Islam protects the institutions of marriage and family. Yep, it does. It does, definitely. I don't think I want to share the comments of the person with the village name, right? Because it's just insulting. Okay. Okay, Brother Islamic Calling's back. Oh, Salam alaikum, you're back.
I don't know what happened. I actually accidentally clicked off the tab.
I think you switched off your tab, right?
Accidentally, yeah. I wanted to
So
share
anyway,
a screen.
continue what you're saying. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I actually wanted to share a screen of a paper on unified lawyers that talks about all the
Okay.
countries and the divorce rates.
Okay.
Can I share the screen? If it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So here it is. So if you look at all the countries,
Yeah.
so basically this is what you're seeing.
Okay.
Global divorce rate is rising, and it's not just in
Okay.
Muslim countries, by the way, because it's rising everywhere in the world. Now,
Okay.
what is the thing that is increased in the world? Is it Islam or is it liberalism?
Yes, the liberalism, definitely.
Exactly. So it's
Liberalism.
not happening because of Islam. It's happening because of secular liberal values. Because if you look at
Yes.
this trend is continuously rising because we're adapting more and more of these secular values. We're not
Yep.
becoming more Islamic. So this is a completely wrong argument or fallacious argument to say. And also, if you look at all the countries of divorce rates, if you look at number one is Russia. Is Russia a Muslim country?
Let's see the 10 highest. Just ignore the others. Just see the 10 highest countries with divorce rates.
Yeah.
So
Highest.
Russia is not a Muslim country. Guam is not a Muslim country. Moldova is not a Muslim country.
Yeah.
What's the?
I think
Sorry, can you make it
Belarus
larger?
might
I
be.
can't read it. Belarus is not a Muslim country. Can you make it larger? I can see it. No, larger.
Yeah.
No, the whole thing larger. I mean, zoom in. I can see the name of the countries. Yeah. Yes. All right. Okay. Yeah. More. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. Belarus is not a Muslim country. Latvia is not a Muslim country. Lithuania is not a Muslim country. Kazakhstan is a Muslim country, but it's like at the bottom. It's number 8.
Yeah.
Cuba is not a Muslim country. Georgia is not a Muslim country. So out of
Now,
the 10 countries that are listed here, only one is Muslim.
let's look at. You're gonna find this interesting. Let's look at the lowest, right?
Okay.
Mantik.
All right.
Okay, it's not a Muslim,
Martinique,
but
no,
Tajikistan.
not Muslim country.
Tajikistan is a Muslim
Tajikistan,
country.
yeah,
What's
it's
going
a
on
Muslim
here?
country, yes.
I thought
yes,
that
yes,
Islam is causing
yes,
this. Then why is this
yes,
here?
Yes.
Then you have Greece. Then you have Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan
Again,
is a
another
Muslim country.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
French Guiana. I think French Guiana might be Muslim. I'm not sure.
No.
Malta,
French Guiana is not
Ireland,
Muslim.
Peru,
Malta is
Qatar.
not Muslim. Ireland is Qatar is a Muslim
different.
country.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
So
very
why are
low.
these countries
This is
here?
the lowest.
Yeah.
So there goes his point. See?
Yeah. So yeah, he's an idiot.
Oh
And
my
divorce
God,
rate
this
by
guy.
major religion,
Major
and
religions,
the majority are Protestant. Protestant
Yeah.
are getting the most amount of
Yeah.
divorce.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And average length of marriage by country, ECU,
Ecuador.
Germany,
ECU is
Australia.
Ecuador, New
Yeah.
Zealand. None of them are Muslim countries. Australia, Canada.
No, this is
Can you
average
scroll down?
length of the country. Yeah.
Ecuador, Canada,
But
Sweden,
the US is the lowest. Only 8
Singapore,
years.
USA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, none of them are Muslim countries.
And look at, by the way, this is a paper that is written by an expert. I think it's written by this guy.
Yeah.
He's a lawyer, and he did
Can you
his
share?
research.
Okay, can you share me the link later after the stream?
Sure. So, and he
Okay, right.
listed the reason why people are getting divorced. He said lack
Yeah.
of commitment, excessive arguing. By the way, Islam promotes commitment between husband and wife.
Yeah.
Right? There are Islamic
definitely.
teachings that says that you should wives should obey their husband, and husbands should also be love their wife, because if you're not, then there are actually punishments for that. So this is again not
Exactly.
happening because of Islamic reason.
Exactly.
And then excessive arguing, again, this is also not allowed in Islam,
Yeah.
because I mean, of course there can be arguments, but you're not supposed to be disrespectful to your wife or spouse to the excessive extent.
Yeah, exactly.
Infidelity, again,
That's-
something that's not
That
allowed.
is why we have.
That's-
That is why we have.
Infidelity is-
Yeah. We have Surah Nisa verse 34. That's the reason. Yeah, the miswak, right? That's
Yeah.
the reason. Yeah.
Infidelity, again, another thing, un-Islamic. Marrying too young. Now, this is a point that a lot of people bring up, that marrying too young is not the issue here.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the one of the reasons why this is happening is because people are getting married late, and when you get married late, sometimes the things just don't work out, because you don't want to stay with this person, because you want to focus more on your career. That leads to divorce.
Yeah.
And all these other kind of things. So
Yeah.
and none of this has anything to do with Islam, and he
Yeah.
makes a very stupid point. that I think is repeated.
Yeah,
problem.
and the thing is, he never did cite the source. He just simply made a remark, and then he never actually never actually cited the source. Whereas I cited the source. You see, whatever I said, I actually cited the source.
For example, Saudi Arabia has higher numbers of divorce than many European countries, and the same goes for many other Muslim countries. Islam also is not about a man and a woman and children.
Yeah, it's false. It's false, definitely.
For example, Russia
possibly 4 wives.
is very low
Yes,
in terms of divorce, and Russia is not a Muslim country.
yes, exactly.
Sex slaves and multiple children. Islam also allows for you to marry a little child. For example, I'm sure MENJ here will have no issue with the fact that Muhammad himself married a 6-year-old child when he was 55 years old and had sex with her. I'm sorry, James, I know you don't like when this is brought up here. Had sex with her when she was 9 years old.
But you only have
By the way,
what is
what is he saying? So basically, the Prophet's marriage is not like for the fact that Prophet married someone, that itself doesn't make it a ruling. Islamic age of marriage is 15, according to most scholars. Now, of course, there vary sometimes.
Puberty, puberty, of course.
If they hit puberty earlier, then of course it's puberty. But if it doesn't, then the general age is 15. 15 is when considered you're completely allowed for marriage. So that's completely normal with and go along with any of the Muslim
every single society, every human society in the world, in the civilized world, accepts the idea that someone is mature enough when he or she reaches puberty. Okay, it is only Western secular liberalism today,
and they're fine with it as well. Like I can find hundreds of examples where they already lost their virginity by the age of 10 in most Western countries. I mean, they're already dating, they're going to prom
unofficially, right? That's right.
But if they get married, then it's a problem.
Oh, it's a big no. You can't get married. You can only do it before you get married, right? So this is the.
By the way, another reason. This is the point I wanted to make, which is that. But basically, the study it says that one of the reasons for divorce is because early marriage. But the thing is that if you look at the past, most people got married earlier. So then, why didn't we have divorce back then? So clearly, early marriage has nothing to do with divorce, because. If you see divorce rate is going up, if this was the case that early marriage causes divorce, then it would have happened back then, not now. But it's happening now because of modernism, basically because of secularism, because of feminism.
Because people are marrying late. People are marrying late today. That's the thing.
Exactly.
Even I myself married late. I didn't marry when I was young. Okay.
I mean, I haven't married yet. I'm still like an incel looking for
exactly.
wife. Maybe you can find someone for me in Malaysia. Can move in.
Inshallah. But you see, that's the thing. It's everywhere in the Muslim world, even in the Muslim world, where people don't marry early. Okay. I mean, my grandmother this was before the Second World War, of course. She married when she was 14. My late grandmother. It was that young, and it was acceptable, and nobody called my late grandfather a pedophile. You see, because it was accepted. But it is only today, for some weird reason which I cannot understand, that when someone marries when they reach at puberty, but below the legal age, they are called pedophiles. I don't understand what's the logic behind this.
This is a very kind of dishonest and disgusting practice, that they think that anytime a older person marries a younger person, they think that that's bad. But why is that bad? I mean, you're okay with a man having committing sodomy with another man, but you have an issue with older person marrying a younger person. Why? Especially if they reach puberty and they want to commit to this relationship. Then
if they reach puberty and both parties agree to the marriage, I personally I don't see any problems with it. I mean, I personally won't do it myself, but if another person wants to marry the woman because let's say she's 14 years old and the guy is 20 something years old, and the guy wants to marry the woman because she wants to get married to the guy, I personally don't see any problem with it. I wouldn't do it myself because I don't have any reason to do that. But if the other person wants to do it, why is that wrong? What's the problem? He wants to get married. He's not raping the woman,
and
right?
Another thing, if you look at human society and the way people's biology works, is that the older a woman gets, the less chances they have of becoming pregnant. This is a major issue, because nowadays you will see a lot of women cannot have children because they marry late.
This
is a major problem. So in order for our own survival, we actually do need to marry early. And this is a fact.
So true. It's a fact. I mean, once a woman reaches the age of 40 above, it's very difficult for her to get pregnant.
Exactly.
So anyway, let's continue.
So basically,
Almost 10
what
more
he's
seconds.
saying is
Which was
actually
9
against
years.
science, it's against common sense, it's against scientific or beneficial reason. Because
Exactly.
if you
Exactly.
actually want the human species as a race to survive, I mean, look at what's happening in Japan.
Yeah.
They're literally
Yeah.
going extinct. And they
Yeah.
said that by the way, Daniel had a debate with these other kind of like Murtad who brought up this point, which is that, so how are you going to solve this problem in Japan, countries like Japan or Korea?
Yeah.
And his
Yeah.
solution is that we're going to bring immigrants. But then you're going to bring all these kind of like savage Muslims from all these other countries into your country. How's that a solution?
You see, that's the irony. They want immigrants to come into the country, but at the same time, they don't want immigrants to come into the country. Yeah. I cannot understand the logic. I really cannot understand the logic. Okay. Yeah, anyway, let's continue with this. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Old. And so that is the family value of Islam. I don't think anybody wants this, anybody needs this. It is harmful, it is dangerous. Thank you.
And time. We'll kick it over to a Muslim apologist for his rebuttal as well. Same thing for you, Muslim apologist. Got the clock set for 6 minutes. The floor is all yours.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, James. Yeah, by the way, Mr. Idamir, my name is not pronounced MENJ. It's pronounced MENJ. Please get that correct, right?
Yeah. I just had to say that because everyone keeps pronouncing it. It's mensch. I really find that annoying. It's MENJ. I mean, what's so hard to pronounce my initials MENJ? I don't understand. So anyway, let's continue. Right?
They are my initials. Okay. So anyway, what I've listened to, okay, all that rubbish that I've listened to from Mr. Idamir is basically things that I've been listening to or refuted since 2003. Okay, because I have this website called Bismika Wahuma, and most of these anti-Islam claims, exist like way back. Okay, so what he proposes here is really nothing new.
He was probably a child back
then. Let me see now the notes there. He gave examples of people being killed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the guy was not.
He was probably a child. He was in school.
Well, I did that website back when I was in college, so I don't know how old he is now. But it's possible that he may have been in primary or maybe in secondary. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. In the name of Islam. Okay. So if people are killing, other people in the name of Islam, that doesn't mean that another person represents Islam. So, because Mr. Idamir seems to have this impression that whatever happens in one remote part of the world somehow represents me, in a remote peninsula in Southeast Asia. So why am I being held accountable for something that happens in the US, in Nigeria, in the Middle East? I'm not an Arab. I'm a Malay. Okay, I'm a Malaysian. Okay? And of course, we profess the same religion, Islam. But I mean, whatever actions that a Muslim does, or someone who claims to be a Muslim does in some remote part of the world, doesn't necessarily represent me. Okay. And of course, I mean, I don't.
Just to can you pause it for a bit?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Aki, is it okay if I criticize your point here a little bit?
Yeah, sure. Please do. That's the whole. That's the whole point.
We want
of
to
having
do
this.
better, right? So
Yeah, of course.
you could have. I think you could have made this point a lot better by saying that basically, the people that Apos is talking about, they're violating Islamic law. So of course to condone that. So of course to condemn that, right?
Yes.
So how does that then make sense for him to accuse Islam of this when Islam itself Islam itself condemns this?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's like, again, part of this point, which is that's like saying that someone is drinking alcohol and you say Islam is causing this. No, that doesn't make sense. That's a contradiction. I mean, you're saying that Islam doesn't allow this, but at the same time also allowing this. So you're basically like making like a contradiction.
Exactly.
But I understand the point you're trying to make as well. Like, I think you're trying to say that.
I guess in at the time because I only had 6 minutes, so I had to like condense everything, and then I was scribbling everything on that piece of paper, so I had to I had very short amount of time to organize everything and make it coherent.
And that's one of the main problems that I have with like live debates is that oftentimes you cannot always make the best argument possible because of shortage of time. If you look at even with like Brother Daniel, he oftentimes brings up a lot of points and makes it very, very clear that he cannot articulate in the debate itself. But that's fine. I think like in the context of debate,
I think that's normal in any debate. But the thing is, Apus, he doesn't even get any of my arguments. He just shoots in the dark. That's
exactly.
Yeah, there's a difference between me and him. At least I try to make my point across, even though it wasn't very clear. But he doesn't even seem to get my point at all. See?
He doesn't care, honestly. I don't think he cares.
Yeah.
He cares.
I don't think so.
He doesn't care about any of the logical reasoning or sound reasoning. He just talks about his feelings and emotion and why, and he feels bad to him. That's why it's bad.
No,
There's
basically
no logic
he's using the debate as a platform to advance his propaganda of apostasy. That's all.
It's not even
That's-
propaganda. Propaganda has logic behind it. He has no logic behind it. He has no logic behind anything he's saying.
Yeah, illogical propaganda, if you want to put it that way. Okay. So anyway, let's continue, right? Okay.
lot of violence, okay, being committed against other people in the name of Islam. But he's conflating things. He's just mixing up things. He's confusing things. The Islamic law, for example, he talks about a lot about the issue of apostasy. Not surprising because he claims to be an apostate himself. But the law of apostasy is only
bro, can you
applicable
pause
in the
for a
Muslim
bit?
state. Okay? If you apostatize,
Right.
Just to bring a little bit of another critique, which is that I don't think you should have followed him in this rabbit hole of like talking about apostasy law or blasphemy law.
maybe,
You should have
that was my mistake,
articulate your main point, which is that if
Yeah.
Islam is protecting these things that are universal, and we see the
Yeah.
bad effects of this, such as countries
Yes.
like Japan or Korea, which is literally going extinct,
Yes.
then how
Yeah.
does that make Islam bad, or how does that make
Yes,
Islam
yes.
dangerous, right?
Yes, that's right,
Isn't it
that's right,
your
that's right.
ideology that's dangerous, right? So you
Yeah,
should have
yeah.
articulated your main argument instead of like following him in this kind of like the stupid,
I think I follow,
irrelevant points.
I think
to be honest.
I think I follow him too much into the rabbit hole. I should have
Exactly.
focused more on my
And this-
intro, which is
I think this
basically, I
is
should
something
have
that
talked more
Brother
about
Daniel
it.
does really well, where he doesn't, when people bring up this all irrelevant points, he doesn't address
Yeah.
them. He just stick to the main
I
topic.
think-
Main point.
Well, I
think
guess I
you
can
should
only
do that
improve.
next, inshallah.
I guess I can just improve more if for as long as I debate. If I continue debating, eventually I will improve. I mean, you're not going to improve.
But you
in
did
one day,
you
right?
did well. You still won the debate, by the way.
I hope so. Inshallah, I hope so. I did. Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier on in the stream, it's not about winning or losing. It's about presenting the Islamic viewpoint and to
Yeah, of
refute
course.
whatever points that he made, right? But
Yeah, of
I
course.
think overall, I think I did well. I mean, it's not to
Yeah.
say that I won or lose, but I think I did better than him. So that's the point.
I mean, you won. I mean, clearly from a logical point of view, you clearly won. He
I
didn't
hope
respond
so.
to your argument. He couldn't respond to your argument.
Yeah.
He brought up irrelevant points, made fallacies, and
Yeah.
I don't see how any can say he won
Yeah.
the debate.
I hope so. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, let's continue, right? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
in the Muslim state, and you're declaring war against the Muslims. So of course, the law will be applied to you. Okay. So I would actually suggest Mr. Aidemir to actually take a look at this book and try to read the contents of this book and re-educate
Bro,
himself.
did you actually try to get
regarding the
A-posts to read books?
Yeah, I did. I actually tried to get him to read the books. I know that he will never read it anyway. I just
never
wanted
read
to
it,
taunt
man.
him with the book. No, I just
What are
wanted
you
to
doing?
show that
You're trying to
No, I
you're
just
trying to educate like a guy that says that sky's red. That's who you're trying to educate.
No, I just wanted to show him that I have books as my sources and I read more books than him. That's all. That's the whole point. I know that he's not going to read it.
He
He's
doesn't
never
even
going to
know what
open
books
one.
are. Look at his face. Does it look like he reads books?
I don't think he does, but that's not the point. And the point is to show that I actually refer to books as my reference. He doesn't. That's the whole point. Okay. So anyway, okay. So let's continue, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
To see laws in Islam. It's written by Taha Jabir Al-Alwani. So there's a lot of information there which we should re-educate.
Oh,
and
by the
rethink
way, I
about,
wanted to
this
make a
so-called,
comment
law,
on regarding something. By the Congress
sure.
on
Go
like
ahead.
4K subs, Alhamdulillah.
Oh,
You
I
almost reached
I
4K subs. Yeah,
I haven't
noticed.
reached it. You cheat that. I haven't reached it yet, right? I think it's 3.99 at
3.99.
the moment.
Very
Yeah,
close.
3.99.
Inshallah,
very
you'll
close,
reach 4K
inshallah,
soon.
I hope so.
So-
I hope so. Inshallah. Yes. Right. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, let me continue. Right.
Yeah, sure.
or what he thinks are apostasy laws. Because if an apostate claims, if someone decides to apostatize in a foreign land which the Muslim state does not have control over, the Muslim state does not have any right to go to that foreign land and just kill that person.
None of these
we're just
points
to
are
shrug our
going
shoulders
through
and
his
say, "So what?
head.
Not apostate, go ahead."
Bro, just look at his face. He's looking.
I don't think he's
doing
even paying
this.
attention. Yeah, he's not paying
He's
attention at all to what
pulling
I
up
said.
Google. He's googling this on the Google.
He's googling. He's checking in Google and see whether whatever I said is true or not.
He's not
and,
listening to anything.
Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not. Yeah, I mean, he's probably chatting with someone else. I don't know. Maybe it's possible he's WhatsApping someone. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't think he heard anything I said. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not going to be bothered with you, which is exactly the reason why Mr. Aidemir is still alive today. Because if we were really violent, if we were really, going after every single apostate in the world, I don't think Mr. Aidemir would escape from the list. Okay, I mean, we are one.
I think that's an important point because he's been saying all this. Oh, apostates are in danger. Apostates are being killed by Muslims. But yet here we have Aydemir there, alive and well. So, so where's the danger from Muslims, right? Yeah.
1.6 billion people, right, around the world. Okay. And then he talks about Surah Al-Tawbah. I actually have this article on my website. Okay. So the passage, the whole surah is actually about a specific context for a specific time. Okay. I'll be very, very happy to educate him on this, but it's going to take too long, right? And then he talks about jizya. Okay. So about the jizya, I will also again recommend him to read this book, right, by Abdul Rahman Aidoy. Okay. It's about non-Muslims under the Sharia. So he has a chapter on the jizya.
Yeah, he's
This
not going to
guy
read the book. That's for
Never
sure.
heard of these books. I'm never going to read it. Probably.
He's not going to read it. I know, but it's just it's not for his benefit. It's for the audience's benefit anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and the jizya is not supposed to be punishment. It's not supposed to be demeaning. It's not supposed to be humiliating. It's just a tax. Okay, it's a tax meant for non-Muslims living in the Muslim state. And in fact, those who pay the jizya are given several benefits in the Islamic state. Okay. Unfortunately, today we don't actually have any.
But also, by the way, I don't know if you know this, but there's actually an interesting point regarding this. So, you're familiar with the Mughals, right? The Mughal kings.
The Mongols, the Mongols.
No, not Mongols. Mughals.
Mughals. Sorry, not Mongols. Sorry, Mughals.
Mughals. Yeah. So in India,
Mughals of India,
the royal
the
family,
Mughals of
the
India.
Muslim royal family, they ruled in India for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And I believe the last king, Aurangzeb, he had jizya. He put jizya in effect, and basically there's I think I read it somewhere in one of my videos where I put out a Hanafi fiqh book. It's a very old Hanafi fiqh book that Aurangzeb he was basically used, and in that book they make it clear that if someone cannot pay jizya, they don't have to pay, and people only have to pay jizya as to the amount they can pay. Like for example, if you can only pay like $1, that's all you pay. You don't have to pay more than that. So it depends. Like if someone is poor, of course, the country is not going to force them. As a Muslim, you cannot force them.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
For rich people, of course, it's kind of like an obligation.
Yeah.
So it's not completely. Is there any system like that in modern countries? No. Is it the case that if you don't want to pay tax or only want to pay a certain amount of tax, you can? No. So there's more freedom in Islamic Sharia than there is in modern capitalist system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In fact, we Muslims, we have to pay the zakat at 2.5%, right? That is much more than the jizya.
Yeah.
That's definitely much more than jizya. So yeah. No, how is the jizya oppressing non-Muslims? He doesn't really, basically Apostle's argument is that because Islam tells the non-Muslims to pay tax to the Islamic State, therefore Islam is dangerous. This is argument. This is all argument. Okay. So anyway, let's continue, right? Yeah.
Most of the governments in the Muslim world today are not being ruled by Sharia anyway. So I mean, this discussion about the jizya is actually quite moot, okay? Because the jizya, as practiced during the time of the Caliphate, okay, it's not being implemented today even, okay. But I would say the analogous will be analogous to maybe the income tax. So everyone pays income tax anyway, okay. What else? I hope I haven't missed out anything. Oh yeah, I think he talked about Ka'ab bin Ashraf, the so-called assassination of Ka'ab bin Ashraf. So the context again, if you listen to my opening statement, I did mention something about referring to context and understanding the historicity behind it. So regarding the issue of Ka'ab bin Ashraf, I actually have an article on this. So the context is simple, okay, because this Ka'ab bin Ashraf, he was inciting hatred against the Muslims, and therefore the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was telling Muslims to do something about it. So we don't have any, there wasn't any international law or Geneva Conventions during the time. So the Prophet is the head of state for Medina at the time. So whatever he says definitely goes, okay, because he's the king, okay, he's the ruler of the state. So it's not different from the Roman Empire ordering someone to kill someone else. Okay? In those times, in those days. I mean, today in the modern world, even the president of the head of a state of a government will have the power to go ahead with the execution of prisoners. Or
this is something that stupid people like Apos will never understand, which is that no government in the world will allow a type of speech that would compromise their position. No government.
Exactly.
You can. I challenge any liberal or any kind of Islamophobe to show me otherwise. Like, do you think that if there's a type of speech, or if you're like an ISIS supporter and you're like promoting this ideology, you'll be allowed to speak in public universities? No, you'll be arrested, if not executed.
I mean, let's put it simply. Let us put it simply. Let's say I wrote a speech praising Hitler, and I go to Europe let's say in Paris, in front of the Eiffel Tower, and I have a loudspeaker, and I read out this speech praising Hitler, what do you think would happen to me? What do you think would
I
happen
mean,
to me?
or if you go out
Yeah.
there and say that Holocaust didn't happen or something like that,
Yeah, exactly.
you'll be in jail.
If I say
You'll
something
be in
like that,
jail.
right? Yeah, I'll be
You'll be in
so
jail.
so much for freedom of speech, right? So much for
Yeah.
freedom of speech. You see? So even liberals don't practice freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Brother
And
Niza made comment here. Let me read his comment first. Isn't there a case where a conquering Muslim army returned a city's collected jizya when retreating, saying sorry, we couldn't protect you, so here's your
Yeah.
Yes, there is a case. I don't remember when it was, but I think it was during the second caliphate I think it was during the Umayyads time when the Romans were attacking the city, and then the Muslim army could not defend that particular city, so they returned
Yeah.
the jizya
Yeah.
back.
So basically, this I think Brother Adnan Rashid mentioned this from his duat from Speaker's Corner. He's a historian, and you check out his YouTube channel, by the way. And I think he basically mentioned this in a lot of different points.
Yeah.
And you can check out some of his lecture. He mentioned this, and it's a very famous kind of like incident.
Yeah, it's a
And,
famous
it just
incident.
shows how much integrity the Muslim leaders had back then.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's continue.
Let's continue.
This.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
For example, the assassination of bin Laden himself. Okay, right. So I mean, I guess so the example that he gave are all emotional. They're not based on reality, and they are sometimes even
Actually, you know what? That's a good point.
Thank you very much.
Can you pause this?
Yeah.
So the execution of OBM is actually a very good point. As a matter of fact, I've actually seen a lefty liberal YouTuber actually making this exact same point, which is that why is it the case that we argue for human rights, but we don't really argue for human rights based on logic. We argue because that's the position we have. And she was basically arguing. She's like she's studying, I think, philosophy of law.
Yeah.
And basically, she makes this point that the execution of I don't know that channel's name, but she basically makes the point that the execution of OBM was illegal under international law because that's
not just OBL, but also the latest assassination of Ayman al-Zawahiri. They use a drone strike on him. Yeah, same thing. Same case.
Yeah. So that's like those are like extrajudicial killings, which means that they hold a position in another country, and simply because they don't like him. By the way, the whole way that the Afghanistan invasion started is when America demanded that OBM be transferred to them, and when the Taliban refused, they invaded. They literally invaded.
Yes.
But they had no evidence. They had no evidence.
Yeah.
So they executed him because they saw him as a threat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so if we analogize this to the incident of Ka'b al-Ashraf, why is it that when the Prophet did it to Ka'b bin Ashraf, it is considered to be wrong and immoral? But when America does it to their enemies, OBL and Ayman al-Zawahiri with a drone strike, it's absolutely fine. You see the point I was trying to make?
And the thing is that since there was no trial, this is extrajudicial killing, and this is no different than something like blasphemy law or even apostasy law.
You see, the proper way, according to the liberal secularist mind, is to arrest bin Laden and to bring him to court, to bring him to justice.
Court, and that's something that the Taliban said, actually. They said that let's bring him to court.
And until today, it has never been done. To be honest, we don't even know whether he's guilty or not. I mean, we there's no court, there's no trial, there's no witnesses, nothing. So we don't know, right? Until today, we don't really know, right? So I'm not saying that he's not guilty, but I'm not saying that he's innocent. I'm not saying that he's innocent. I'm not saying he's not guilty either. So, but because we don't know, in the end, we don't know, right? I mean, America just assumes that he's guilty, and therefore they just hunt him down and kill him. See,
And by the way, they're not even doing this in their own land; they're doing it on another land, which is even more crazy.
Yeah, which is worse. It goes against the Geneva Conventions and the international law. Okay. I mean, back then in the time of the Prophet,
that's the whole point.
Law.
Like any government that feels threatened has the right to protect itself by eliminating anybody.
Yeah, eliminating
as long as
enemy.
they pose an objective threat.
Yeah, exactly. And this has been going on for what? For centuries. But when the Prophet does it, it's wrong. Islam is dangerous.
Yeah.
See the hypocrisy.
By the way, the reason Prophet had a completely valid and legitimate reason for doing this.
Yeah.
Like this guy was literally treating the
no,
treaty.
no.
He
In
used a
the
treaty.
Prophet's case is different. Yeah, in the Prophet's case is different because there's a treaty. He already because the tribes have already signed the treaty. So anyone who violated the treaty, the Prophet has a right to punish him.
Yeah.
It's that simple. But where's the treaty for assassinating Bin Laden? What treaty is there? There's no such thing.
That is a violation of treaty.
Exactly.
By the way, funny fact, I actually made a video recently. I don't know, did you saw my video on like Salman Rushdie? Salman Rushdie advocated for the war in Iraq. He advocated for the war in Iraq. Yeah. He openly wrote and said that America should invade Iraq. So he openly supported an international crime. He's actually guilty for an international crime. He's a criminal.
God,
he should be in jail.
Yeah, he's a criminal.
And these people are praising him as if he's some kind of as if he's like some kind of innocent guy. And people like him and Christopher Hitchens are the reason why thousands of innocent children are dead in Iraq.
Not surprised. I'm not surprised. But anyway, let's continue. I think Aki, I think we'll just end after this rebuttal, right? Okay, this rebuttal session, right? Yeah.
Let's continue. Are you sleeping?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, it's already almost 2 hours. It's only going to be 3 hours, so I think it's a bit too long.
Let's go 4 hours. I've seen Iyadaw does do like 7 hour streams.
We're gonna jump
I don't think I can. Okay, yeah.
in conversation, folks. Things are gonna get wild. Want to say?
Okay, I think it's
okay. That's the end.
So, yeah, that's the end. Yeah. So yeah,
after that is Q&A, right?
Yeah, it's Q&A. I think let's do that at another time because I think it's too long. So
no, we're not gonna do the Q&A. I think that's enough.
Yeah.
If that's the end, then that's the end, inshallah.
Yeah, that's the end. Yeah, that's the end actually. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right, let's get rid of this guy's face. I don't want to see.
Okay, let's remove. Yeah, I don't want to see his face either. Oh my god. So yeah, so basically that's the analysis. So I think overall I did okay. It's just that maybe there are some things which I should have stated more.
No, you clearly won the debate. You made a very good point, which is that
thank you.
Why is the case that if this is the case that we have these universal values such as lineage, family, faith, and Islam protects that, then why is it the case that then Islam is bad, or Islam? How does that make Islam dangerous, right?
Exactly.
Because and any type of critique you want to bring against Islamic laws, that can be justified because Islam is protecting a greater interest, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how many times you want to whine.
Basically most of his arguments were already refuted in my opening statement because I said historical context and greater good must be considered in any analysis of Islamic law.
Yeah, and not just that. Like everybody in the world values these things. So how can you say that this is dangerous then?
Exactly.
Do you think that and by the way, did you know that Japan actually banned I think it's gay marriage? I think I saw somewhere. I think Brother Daniel posted that. Yeah, and they have a completely legit reason for this because their population is declining.
Not surprised.
And it makes perfect sense to allow this type of things because for the greater interest. Of course, any country would do that.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
How does that make it dangerous? That doesn't make it dangerous.
Yeah, it doesn't make it dangerous.
So he fails to respond to this argument. He provided no logical reason.
Basically, all his argument, like I said in the closing statement or my opening statement, the last para, he was just appealing to emotionalism. He was just appealing to Islamophobia, and he was just appealing to things which he dislikes, but he doesn't see the greater good. That's basically his points. That's basically how you can sum up his opening statement and his rebuttal.
So basically, there's no logic behind any of his argument. He's just committing fallacies after fallacies.
So it's all emotional.
Fallacies after fallacies.
I don't like this. No, basically it's like this. I don't like this law, and this law is what Islam practices. Therefore, Islam is dangerous.
Yeah. So basically, a bunch of red herrings. A bunch of questionable cause fallacies, a bunch of and a bunch of other stupid points, and also cherry picking, taking things out of context.
So Yeah.
So yeah, I think you won the debate. Alhamdulillah.
I hope
And,
so. I hope so. I hope so.
And I think we should
I
end
mean,
it here. It's all been actually, let's
yeah.
wait another minute. It's almost 3 hours. Let's go for
Oh
3
my
hours.
god, it's
I think it's
going to
gonna
be
be
3
the
hours now.
longest.
Oh my god, it's one of our longest streams, right? My god, I think the last longest stream that we did was the one where we talked about Jay Smith's fake debate with the psychopath David Wood, right? That was 3 hours. That was 3 hours each, right? So there was 6 hours. It was 6
Don't
hours
worry, by the
plus.
way, in case this stream hasn't been streamed on my channel, in case any of my audience is watching, I will make like a highlight of this stream, inshallah, and I will put it. Initially, it will be really funny. I'm gonna do a lot of kind of like memes and like interesting edits, so to make it really funny and interesting. So look out for that, inshallah.
I really don't understand why your channel is not showing the stream. Right? It doesn't make any sense.
I don't think it's showing.
It's weird. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm just doing a search for your channel. Yeah, it's not showing up on your stream, on your channel. I don't know why. It's very weird. Because the other day when we did the live streaming together, it was showing up on your stream, right? On your video, in your channel, right? Yeah, it's very odd. I mean,
anyway, so I think So anyway, I think we should continue this later on. That was a fun, interesting debate.
Oh, brother Nizar, can you guys recommend a previous debate you have done whose opponent whom you find to be most credible and respect worthy? I guess you can watch the one that I had with Randolph Richardson. That was okay. Wasn't really a debate. It was more like a dialogue. It was more of a dialogue. Yeah, just watch the one against Randolph Richardson. Yeah, that was like a dialogue. It was a very friendly. It was supposed to be a debate, but it ended up being a very friendly dialogue instead. I actually enjoyed talking to him. Yeah. I think have you watched it? I'm sure you have watched it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, some of it, not the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we should end it here.
Okay, sure.
Thanks for inviting me, by the way.
No problem.
It was
no
nice.
Anytime.
Although you were kind of late, so.
Sorry about that. I fell asleep. Really, I don't know why I did that.
That's fine.
Anyway, I think after this stream,
you should go back to watching Cobra Kai. Inshallah.
I was just going to say that. I think after this stream, I'm going to go and have a drink, and then after that, I'm coming back and continue my Cobra Kai.
Which season you're watching, by the way?
Season 5. The latest
season 5 came out already?
Yeah, it came out already. It came out like 2 days yesterday. It came out yesterday.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, it came out yesterday.
I had to check that out.
It came out on the 9th. Yeah, you should.
I have to check that out. Okay.
If
thank you for inviting me. And obviously, this guy posts a joke. He's a complete joke, and that has been further demonstrated.
I don't know why people love him. To the point that he has like
stay away from stay away from Epos. Yeah. Let's end it with that.
Stay away from the idiocy of Epos. Okay, that's the best. That's the best way to say it. Put it. I mean, he always likes to say, "Stay away from Islam. Stay away from Islam." But people should just stay away from him. Stay away from Epos. Yeah, definitely. All right. So anyway, thank you everyone for watching this stream. If you like this channel, please do not forget to like my channel. Also go to Brother Islamic Calling's channel and like his channel, and watch his videos. Inshallah, in the future we will have more collabs like this in the future. I hope you're open to that.
By the way, if any of my audience is watching, subscribe to Brother MENJ and help him help him reach 4K subs.
Inshallah. I hope so. So anyway, yes. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again in a future video. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.